make this. Hello. Oh, what? Hold on. There's an ad going on in the background. It's ridiculous. Let's stop that. We've got to stop that. You guys probably can't hear it, but it's still going. See, StreamYard's messed up. Hi, how is everyone tonight? Tonight we're going to do the first Creator Hangout of 2024. It is going to be awesome. We have some great creators with us here tonight. So it's going to be really, really cool. I'm still inviting a couple people who wanted to come in, but it's going to be a good time. And unlike a normal Creator Hangout, we're actually going to just do that. We're going to hang out. We're going to talk about 2024. I've got a couple of questions that I've got for the guys. We're going to go kind of roundtable style and really talk about a whole bunch of things, really get everyone connected, and just kind of hang out for the year, get everyone reacquainted with doing everything going on. Travis is having a boomer moment in the movie. I am a boomer. That's just facts. Speaking of boomers, let me bring the oldest man we have here on, Daniel Calvin, who hasn't been to 10 p.m.
Everyone who's older than me keeps saying I'm older than them. You do it, my friend Andy does it. It's
What's the latest you've ever stayed up, Daniel, in your entire life?
1 or 2-ish. I was actually up past 1 on New Year's Eve /day. So
wow, that is bold.
Yeah, I just play World of Warcraft, and there were sleep consequences afterwards.
Right. All right. Well, I will bring on the other man who normally is my old partner. We are the ones who yell and shake, tell people to get off our lawns. That's me and Tom Hutchinson. We are the get off our lawns guys in chats.
Yeah, I swear that I am the oldest in my group of people. I'm 52 as of now.
That's old. That's
I know, no kidding. Look.
Older than me.
Old. But yeah, I mean, like all the people I work with, they're all like in their 20s and 30s and stuff. And occasionally someone's in the 40s, but inevitably it's like, yeah, Tom's that guy.
Right. All right. Who else do we've got here? We've got Joey's here. He doesn't have a picture or a mic, but maybe he has both of those.
How's it going?
He has a mic. Okay, he has a mic. Hi, Joey. How are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, listen, I've got COVID, so I'm not on camera. Sorry.
Okay. Fair enough.
Gross. So otherwise I'd be on camera.
All right. Let's see who else we've got left. I've got my good friend Joshua, or Josh, as I like to say. I don't know. It's because it says Joshua. I have to read it.
You have to read it that way. Either way, I've never cared. I've never had a preference. I'm good.
Welcome to the show, the first show of the year. We're gonna have some fun tonight. It's gonna be cool. Who else we've got here? I've got a few people who I'm adjacent to who I don't normally have in the show. So they're in the background and they look like real people, but I want to warn them that I'm a little nervous. The last time I did this, porn got added to my screen. It was a bunch of porn. So I kicked off the first guy who had porn and the second guy brought porn. So it came as a duo. So I'm gonna hope they don't have porn. Joe, I've known for a little bit. I trust Joe. Joe is not porn. So Joe's good. Hi, Joe. How are you?
Yeah, last time I checked, I'm not. So
Right.
thanks for having me on, man.
Yeah.
Sorry I was a little bit late. I wasn't sure if I'd been picked or not. So appreciate it.
I like that. I like to wait till the last
Sorting
minute
hat has
and
chosen you.
Yeah, is it kind of what I do? And I may kick people off. I may do some stuff. I've said people, people probably haven't even checked their messages, and they have it in there. We'll move around as we go. Jay can't talk, but he's here.
My mic's on now.
His mic's on now. He had a toddler earlier, so he couldn't talk, but he can talk now.
Yeah, we're good.
What's up, Jay?
Not much. Just hanging out. Just got the boy to bed. I figured I'd jump in here for a few and meet everybody.
Nice. I trust Jay as well. Jay and I have done work together, so I trust Jay. So let's bring on the guy I don't trust. Ben Box Comics, I don't trust you. Are you porn?
I am not porn, as you can tell by the face in front of you. I am the opposite of porn. So no, I am not porn.
Okay. Well, some of our views have gone down now because I made some problems.
I didn't bring the goods. I'm sorry.
You didn't bring the
brought
goods.
this.
You just brought this. We have one more person who wants an invite. He's whining. I do more for this guy, even though he treats me poorly, but we'll bring him on as well. He'll be a minute because I just sent the link, but we'll bring that on. So, gentlemen, if you have anything to promote, send it in the private chat. There'll be a time for that, and we'll get to that. I have stuff to promote as well. You saw some of my videos. But really, I want to talk about 2024. It's a trying time in the industry, and I want to kind of talk about it like men. Since there's all men here tonight. If there was a woman, we'd talk about it as adults, but no, Madeline couldn't make it. Here's the guy. Here's the guy who's always taking advantage of me right here. There you go, Tim. Hi, Tim. How are you?
Hey, brother.
So Tim is here, and he's got a thing ending. When is yours ending? Is it out?
Mine just ended about 8 minutes ago.
Oh, all right. So I helped Tim zero in this last 8 minutes.
It's all
Where'd
good,
you end
man.
up at? Where'd you end up at?
I had my most successful campaign ever, and I'd like to
Awesome.
take a quick second to say thanks to the indie creator community. In particular, thanks to Joe. Child's Play Comics.
Yes,
He's on my
you're
roster.
welcome.
So,
Hey,
man, I
Tim,
just want to
back.
say I appreciate it a lot. And,
Yes, sir.
I
I
was
was happy to finally get to work.
I was uncertain about running it over Christmas, right? And actually, a lot of people said don't do that. So what I did is I went to, I think it was 36 days, because there's always that. To be honest, from roughly Christmas Eve to like the day after Christmas, it was dead.
Right.
Yeah, but that would have been the middle of your campaign anyway, right?
No, that was right at the end because it ran till what's today, the 4th.
Okay.
So the last week. So
So let's bring Ben Box back up because Ichthyab makes a great comment there. You are the only one with a bed in the background.
Well, it is currently being used for a plethora of upcoming Comic-Con stuff. So once again, no possibility for porn.
right.
But yes, it's not even.
I was
serviced
on
as a
the-
good bed.
Yes,
I was
Tim
on the porn
there.
episode. Yeah,
Right.
I was the guy that got bumped by the. And by the way, that took us all by surprise, man.
Right.
Don't
Yeah,
tell.
there was no. It wasn't like there was no setup. He just whipped it out, and there was like about 5 seconds where we all went, "Wait, are we seeing what we think we're seeing?" You know what I mean? It was like that Oz factor. Like that can't be what he's doing, and it was.
If I recall, I literally went to bed like 5-10 minutes before that went down. So it was the whole damn thing.
Right. Yeah, it was a rough night. And that's what happens sometimes on Creator Hangout. Sometimes you see the most amazing thing.
Is
We're
that
not
what
gonna see
happens?
that today. Ben Box has promised that he is not going to show us porn. He's the only one I can't verify. We are Twitter friends, but beyond that. But I always love meeting new creators. So let's start out. And we're gonna go around the room. When I go around the room, tell us who you are before you answer the question. So basically, if someone's watching, they know whether or not they should keep listening or move on. But also, tell me your prediction for the comics market in 2024. Does anybody want to go first? Because that's a big ask. Or am I going to have to just name someone?
I'll go first because I'm actually a little bit limited on time.
All right.
My particular take on this is that for a couple of years now, we've noticed a slow but steady buildup among indie creators. And maybe I'm not as perceptive as some. I didn't notice it at first. But I think that particularly the use of crowdfunding has sort of leveled the playing field in a way that we've seen a couple of new creators come in. And I think Travis can back me up on this. We got people like Carissa Grant. We got people like Sean Wood that are releasing these great products that maybe even as recent as 2 or 3 years ago, maybe not have come to market. And I think that the quality of the products is high. I think 2024 is going to be a banner year for the indie comic creator community. And I'd like to back that up by saying, well, Tim, really, we want to know about mainstream comics. And I'd like to just mention that's going to be their worst year ever. They're going to be right there with Disney and the major movie studios making products that people seem to be rejecting somewhat soundly. And that's not my way of making any statement of, I don't have any horse in that race other than the indie race, which is the one I like. But there is something to it. They just released the news from Disney yesterday, right? It's something like their lowest quarterly earnings in the last 14 years. It's the first year to not have $1 billion property. So I think you're going to see some changes in the market. When I say changes, it's going to be geared back toward the things that are sort of more popular, I guess I'd say.
All right. That's good. That's good. And you didn't introduce yourself.
Oh, yeah, I apologize about that. My name's Tim Fling. I'm a writer from York, Pennsylvania. And I'm mostly known for, I guess I'd say, Kickstarter.
Who else has got something? You came on here to speak, I assume.
Nobody. I was waiting for everybody else. Everybody knows that I like to go last. So that way I can tell.
What's also the one that's also limited on time.
Let's go. Joe always has an opinion. He's always supporting people. Joe, I'm throwing it on you. What do you think? Give us a prediction for 2024. Joe is frozen.
Oh yeah, he did.
I chose poorly.
As I said,
what do you got, Dave?
Okay.
Well,
on my end, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
Okay. So my name is Joe Solis. Me and my wife own Child's Play Comics here in New Braunfels, Texas, which is just north of San Antonio. We've been doing this for a couple of years. We actually used to be retailers. We had a comic and game shop here in our town, so we kind of have that background going into this. For us, making comics is just something we do on the side. My wife's in education, and I was in banking for almost 10 years before the pandemic, and now I take care of our 3-year-old. So that's kind of my background in a nutshell. But to your question, just from what I see, obviously getting to know a lot of the faces here, either through social media or getting some of y'all's books, obviously, excuse me, to me, the indie circuit seems pretty healthy, right? And it's just like anything else, because I'm very business minded, so I pick up on a lot of the business tips that a lot of you guys have put out there, and it really comes down to what money's going to be made and how's that money going to be managed and put into your next campaign or whatever. And as far as like the mainstream, I mean, they always have their struggles, and unless Marvel and DC tomorrow announce that they're deleting floppies, that would probably be the only major thing that would really affect the rest of us. Other than that, they're going to keep going, whether it's in the red or not. So that's what I see.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Good answer. Good answer, Joe.
Joey showed up, so that means we sparked the fire in Joey, because Joey's like, I got sick. I don't want to appear on screen, and something riled him up. I see his face.
Uh-oh.
Joey can get riled up. Let's hear what you got, bro.
See, listen, I can't say anything about the direct market crazy, because I don't really read a lot of the mainstream stuff like Marvel DC stuff. Because of my work, it's all crowdfunded stuff. So, but what I see happening is
we're hearing an echo from somebody.
Uh-oh. Is it me? Sorry. I feel like the state of comics is going to be. I mean, they're not going to die, right? We're not going to see that they're dying. They're not going to go away. We've heard this for years. We heard this for decades, but it never happened. They slow, they ebb and flow, just like the market and any other kind of market that's out there. But I think that I think it's changing, and I think that I always say the future of comics is going to be creative studios and self-publishing. Only because I see everybody that is going from the direct market going over to self-publishing, because you're going to get a better ROI, right? You're going to get better ROI. It's going to be faster. It's going to be easier. It's going to be quicker, and you're going to be able to have an output a lot quicker than you would through the direct market, because some places you put out one book and then it takes a couple months to put out an issue 2 and things of that nature, and all kinds of other publishers do different things. So I feel like the future of comics is going to be self-publishing.
Fair enough. I think it was your feedback, which is funny because you are probably the most professional with equipment. it's always that, right?
it's my computer's picking up the audio too, I think.
All right. So let's go. Let's go to Bedbox. What do you think?
All right. My name is I should have put it in there because everyone else has their name, but my name is Chris O'Hara. I have founded Bentbox Comics almost 2 years now. I haven't been in it for very long. Pretty green to the game. But I co-own this company with another guy named John Shell. He has a series of comics coming out and previous works already done. Little backstory, because you asked us to introduce ourselves. A little backstory. My dad, the reason I'm into comics, my dad used to ink for Marvel, but like way back in the day, like 80s. Right before I was born, he ended up quitting after I was born. But I've had murals of Spider-Man on my walls, and I've had comics have just been around forever. So that's and then I got into it by my buddy John. So that's why I'm currently writing and starting this self-publishing company, which is kind of, to everyone's point, that's kind of how we're seeing the market go, or at least there's this huge opening for self-publishing. And to be honest, I don't think I could word it better than Tim did about my predictions as well. That's about, I basically side with him on the majority of everything he said. That I'm a little concerned about the big two and some of the bigger markets. I feel like there's a slight identity crisis in those, and it may be a disconnect with the average reader. I don't really know. I'm also similar to Joey in that regard of the 99% of what I take in is crowdfunded indie comics. Just because of the state of my job, basically. I just try and bring that in as much as possible. And then I really am optimistic about self-publishing and indie comics. I think it's going to be a good year for that. Specifically for us, we're planning on this being kind of like a keystone year. And so I pray Timmy's right, because it would benefit us greatly. But I kind of agree.
All right, cool.
What kind of material, can I ask, is Bentbox doing?
Well, we have a couple different things. We could talk about this more later because we have a bunch of different plans, but like my co-creator, John, he's doing like fantasy work. It's kind of like a young adult. He also has a book coming out later that's a little bit more mature, definitely very blood and gore, and it's just going to be more mature audience. The one I currently am writing is called Artificial. It's more of a young adult sci-fi, like action adventure comedy type thing. So it's more family friendly. Like I even gave a speech at our local high school, passed out all the books to the high schoolers, so that's kind of the age range for a lot of our books right now. We have plans for children's books and mature books as well, but right now mostly young adult. It's kind of where we're at.
I'll follow it.
Someone messaged to join because we're at our max right now. People will be leaving early. A couple people said they had to leave early, so when that happens, just private message me or try to use that link to get back in. Just kind of hang out in the chat for now. But great. Thanks for telling us. We'll talk more about your stuff in just a little bit. We'll get to it. Ichthia, tell me why you hate comics. Oh, he's frozen too. Why am I actively choosing the frozen people?
I have no idea.
Like, what is going on with me? Like,
It's bad luck.
all right, Josh, it's on you.
All right. Hi, I'm Josh Starnes. I am a writer and publisher. I've been the co-publisher for several years at Red 5 Comics, and wrote several books there while I was there. And then this past year, left there to go out on my own. What is my prediction for 2024? My hopeful prediction is that as general economic sentiment seems to be getting better, people start actually coming back into retail stores again, and we start to get some actual health back into the industry. There still feels like there are some long-term trends that even if people start shopping are going to have to change because they've sort of played out. It feels like we're in the middle of the end of the variant cover cycle, and a lot of the push for small, short miniseries, and it's going to cause probably a lot of consolidation among the small publishers, which is good and bad. Bad because you have a lot of books that suddenly don't necessarily have the audience they did have, and creators looking for a place. But good because we've had probably too much product for too long, and that's a mixture of what the big two are doing, what the large non-Marvel DC publishers are doing, and what the small publishers are doing, because margins have gotten bad, and the only way to make money is to make a lot of everything. And it feels like this might be the year that comes to an end, and we go through a year of tightness and pain, but come out the other side with a stronger market for it.
All right. I love how positive. I can't wait for Tom and I to crush your dreams. I'm excited.
It's part of the charm. It's all part of the charm.
Ichthia, you disappeared on me.
Yeah,
are you
man.
here?
I don't know. My freaking internet's just kicking the can on me. But so just sharing my thoughts on 2024 and stuff like that.
Yeah. Prediction for 2024. We're gonna be a little bit more targeted in a minute, but right now, just overall agenda of comics in 2024.
I mean, with 2024, I mean, I feel like comics aren't dying. I just feel like it's evolving because there's all kinds of creators now. It's not just, the standard self-publishing and, or just going towards a publisher and all those things. I feel like we're in a moment now where everyone is now an influencer. Everyone who creates content are going to find avenues of, expanding themselves. If you're a content creator, hey, it's like YouTube is now like pushing more, like cutting more leeway now. It's like before you have to have like 1,000 subscribers just to be monetized. Now they just cut it in half. You can have 500. You can upload, if you upload like 3 days a week, and shorts like 3 million views, which is getting views from shorts it's easy when you do like your homework and stuff like that. And, especially with TikTok and TikTok Shop, I mean, I've seen so many creators that use TikTok and taking advantage of the platform. And I'm seeing now there's changes where, I think now like these platforms are in like a turf war, I would say, where, usually like you can't promote other social medias you're in. Cause let's say, if I'm on Instagram and I want to share my YouTube video, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have the link, you're not going straight to the YouTube app. You're actually going straight to the web browser. And for that, other companies are not going to support these platforms, and it's a given. And also too, is that, with webtoons, it's another thing too. And with webtoons, it's like, the big debate is always like, well, why should you give away free content and then, just hope and pray that people might like it? But even that, like, if it's a success, you can do a crowdfunder that you're going to have a physical copy of the book. which, you know, anything that's digital, you're not 100% have ownership of it. That's a given, especially with any platforms like, let's say, Comixology, that is just ran down. And now it's like, you got to use Kindle now. And like, I don't want to use Kindle. I want Comixology. And I think now with Global Comics that took advantage of it, like now it's a new avenue where, you know, like if you're not much more into the anime or manga type of art style, like at least now you have a platform where it's more focus of the Western. And also too with the features that they have, I mean, we've used their features where we can promote our crowdfunders with our Kickstarter for the flock, and you know, all that great stuff. So I mean, again, I feel like there's the evolution is like, I know now the big concern now is floppies and the big two and all that stuff. And yeah, I can see the concern, but it's like at a point now where like, you know, Marvel and DC, I feel like DC is doing their part, just trying to get younger readers, since now they're changing their graphic novel format to like the size of manga, something that is more familiar with the younger audience. So I feel like DC has done so much, and you know, they've given too much flack for them. I mean, they even jump onto webtoons, and I have yet to see, you know, Marvel do something. I mean, yeah, Marvel is hiring like manga artists, but you know, that's as far as I got from Marvel. But DC, I've seen them trying and pushing to get new, younger audience on their platform. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I will say DC does it better like in the comic format, but you know, my kid loves Spidey and His Amazing Friends. Like that's his favorite show.
Yeah.
They do good on the media side, just not as well on the comic side. All right. I think we need Jay, Daniel, and Tom, right? And then myself?
Yeah.
All right. Daniel, go next.
So I'm Daniel. I'm the writer of American Dreams, Night Raft, Frickin' Night, and I've written a couple shorts in this little book, Ringo-nominated book called Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. And I have a short in the, right now on Kickstarter, Holiday Spirits Volume 3. I got a couple other things cooking up, but that's another story. My prediction, I'm going to kind of riff on two people's stuff, because I think Josh is right, because I was reading something earlier today on ITV2, I believe that's the site, that said basically there's probably going to be consolidation, where there's going to be companies merging or forming alliances or just utterly falling apart. We don't know. But I do think there's going to be some shift in the wind, and some companies are probably, if they don't evolve and change and adapt, like Iketh said, some of those companies are not going to survive. And a lot of the problem, it's the name of the game. Things are evolving. Stores are evolving. Publishing is evolving. Readership's evolving. And unfortunately, I don't know if anything evolution, people are going to go resist it, you know, hollering and screaming. But at the end of the day, change is inevitable. So this could be, I think, as several other people say, this could be a bumpy year. But I think in the end, we'll come out the stronger for it. We'll just have to bring some people, you know, crying and screaming with us.
All right. Jay, what you got?
Well, I was trying to write down everything Tim said, but my hand's not quick enough. Jay, I'm mainly an artist, but I do some writing. I've got a book currently that's kind of sitting in the hands of some publishers, waiting on some feedback. As far as comics go, excuse me, I don't think they're going anywhere. I think the toy box is big enough that there's a toy in there for everybody if you dig. And I think over the last couple of years, that's been evident. There's been all this talk that it's dying, but it never goes anywhere and nothing ever changes. And now you have this spike of new creators. I think we're okay. And as far as the big two goes, I mean, they're going to do their own thing, and they always have, and they always will. And they're the big two. I don't think they're going anywhere either.
All right. Short and sweet. I like that. Tom, you want to go or you want me to go? You like to go last, so I want to give you the option.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much going on here. You guys all raised so many different points. It's hard to tackle all of it. For me personally, just to start, I think that 2024 is going to be a shakedown period. It's going to be a shakedown era for comics, both for the big guys and for indie guys. We've seen Marvel and DC, like you guys have talked about, trying to get a new audience, except it's not working. It's not working in any capacity, at least in any significant capacity. Doing things like making them smaller, like manga, irrelevant, because the product is still the same. People like manga because it's manga. It does things a certain way with a certain art style, a certain storytelling aspect, and Western comics don't generally do that. So just taking Spider-Man and saying, well, now it's a manga size, that's not going to translate, not to anything significant. But I think that Marvel and DC have seen that, okay, we have a problem here. Our numbers are dwindling, regardless of what anyone wants to tell you. Numbers are dwindling for whatever reason, and there's a lot of them. And I think that they have to eventually come to an understanding that what we've been doing the last decade to try and find this new audience is not working. And every time we try and do something to bring in some new audience through some random event or character alteration or whatever, we're losing people out the door. And unless you have a one-to-one, at minimum, a one-to-one replacement that's happening, if two people leave and one people come in, your numbers are going to continue to fall and fall and fall and fall. And that's the problem. And this is the biggest problem that comics has right now. And it's not creators. There's plenty of creators. It's not that indies are better or worse or whatever, because stores don't carry indie books. That's just a fact. It's just purely comics are in comic stores. 99% of comics are in comic stores. And nobody knows that comics exist. There's no awareness of comics in the general world anymore. People watch the movies and they know that it came from a comic book, of course, but there's no commercials for comic books. There's no, hey, go down to your local store on Wednesday. There's none of that. And there's never has been really from, and it really needs to come from the top. It needs to come from Marvel and DC. And they will never do that because they've shown that they have no interest in doing that, barring small little moments in time. So awareness is the biggest drawback that comics have. And so saying that all of these indie guys are coming into the market and they tell all these great stories, that's awesome. But if nobody knows we're here, we have nowhere to go. And that's why we're all here building our own audiences. And then hopefully, I build my audience, right? And Travis builds his, and then we go on a show together, and hopefully we sort of transfer over some fans. We work together, we transfer over some fans. It's all awareness. It's the awareness funnel. It's where everything starts. And right now comics have an awareness funnel that is maybe smaller than it's ever been. Somebody brought up the variant covers. Variant covers aren't going anywhere anytime soon. I'll tell you right now that art is what is keeping comics alive at this point, particularly in the retail end of things. Without the variant covers, for those that don't know, variant covers are, you get your A cover, your standard, like a story cover, and then there's X amount of variant covers with different art on them. And Marvel and DC use those numbers even when they do a variant that's not their own, like if it's a retail variant, like a store variant or something, those numbers get fed into the overall print numbers. So the print numbers are really out of whack. So even if you see something selling like 100,000 copies, it's like so much of that is variant copies versus the A. So there's gigantic disconnects in all of the information that we have. Plus, remember, that's all wholesale numbers. None of that is actual retail numbers. So it might sell 100,000 units, but there may still be 50,000 units sitting on the market somewhere. So then that takes us down to crowdfunding, which I think is the part that is going to be the most interesting to watch. Last year, Kickstarter anyway, sort of rolled back to its normal averages of about 200 to 250 campaigns running at any given time in a month. So that was sort of normal pre-2020 levels where everything went crazy. We had this huge bubble in 2020. And then then 2023, weirdly enough, was very, very, very normal. And then we got to October and November, and it exploded, like well over 300 for over almost 2 months. I have no explanation for that. That was really bizarre. And as of right now, we have 97 active comic book campaigns on Kickstarter. 97. It is wildly low in January. Although I know a lot of people are planning to launch in January. I'm one of them. But I think we're going to see a shakeout in that as well, because there's a lot of people that, get into crowdfunding and then they don't really see the large portion of it, the scale of it, the back end, the shipping, all of that is just nightmarish to a lot of people that have tried it and then just been like, yo, I'm out of here. So I think you're going to start to see crowdfunding, the cream rising to the top a little bit more and more and more. And the people that really have a hang on it will be there regularly, consistently. You're always going to have people trying it, of course, which they should. Please come and try it. But I think that's going to kind of stabilize itself. I'm not really anticipating seeing 300 campaigns in a month again anytime soon, and as we go forward. So
Tom, I'm curious why you say that. Could you expand on that? You say it won't go to 300. My prediction is it'll exceed that. Tell us why you think that.
I don't think it will, just because, again, like I just said, last year, because in 2020, we went into the 300s. 2021, we kind of hung there. 2022, it started to fall back down. 2023, it fell all the way back down to normal averages. So we saw the spike in 2020, and it all fell right back down to normal this year, except for those last 2 months, of course, which I have no explanation for. Very strange to me. And right now, we're at an all-time low. I saw it at 89 earlier in the week. I've never seen it that low before. So I think there's a lot of people that are learning that crowdfunding is difficult. So a lot of those folks that were in when we were doing the 300 campaigns, a lot of those guys are going to be like, whoa, I got to either slow down here, might not even come back and do another issue. It's just too difficult. I think we're going to see a lot of shakeout from the difficulty of crowdfunding, because it is a difficult thing. And so that's where I'm coming from. I don't see there's going to be some huge surge of like, hey, I'm going to come try and do a comic again, especially coming out of the economic turn that we were in, because you still have to have money to sort of create the book ahead of time, at least some portion of it. And a lot of people don't have that money right now. So that's why I think you're going to see a very normal year. We might have blips again, and we can look at why those blips might happen. But I think 2024 is going to be a very normal crowdfunding year as far as the levels. And then again, we'll kind of run through 2024 and see what that shakeout really does. And then we examine again for 2025. But I think people are I think they kind of got run ragged. A lot of the guys that sort of tried it. And a lot of people on crowdfunding don't do it for like a business either, right? It's like a vanity project. They just want to say they did it. And that's where a lot of these projects are on there. There's a lot of just really kind of strange stuff on Kickstarter, crowdfunding in general. And so there's a lot of guys that are just like, hey, let's just make a comic, man. Let's just do it. And they, go and get $500 or $1,000 and they're done. They're fine. They're happy. They completed it and they move on with the rest of their life. So those guys will always be around. But I think that I just think you're going to find a shakeout through this year. I'm not seeing anything that tells me we should have a surge of anything from anyone.
Make this decision. I have to disagree with that. Like big time. I'm disagreeing with that one.
Well, we'll get to disagreements. Hold on. We'll get to that. Because
look at all. I mean, everybody here is like doing opposite of that. But go ahead.
Yeah. Let's we'll get to disagreements and fights. We're gonna get to that in just a minute because I predict as much because I have some bold statements as well. I do want to make sure.
No, it's not a fight. I just have a disagreement that there's gonna be a shakeout. I think there's already been a shakeout. I think that's already been happening. But I'm just
sure. Yeah. Let me go through my thing and then we can address any of the shakeouts and stuff because I know Josh's opinion. I'm sure because I know Josh. We talk on the phone a lot. When he said varied covers, he meant the whatnot levels of like 40, 57 variants. It's now like 5 good ones.
It'll be more like there was. I mean, they'll never go away, but there was definitely a period in time that, especially within the direct market, a retailer would go like, "It's got a variant, yeah, why not? Well, I'll take the chance. Somebody might buy it. It's only going to cost me so much. I'll bundle it in." And they do it through companies of any size, and that will not be true. And like the 500 you might see on whatnot will not be true. Marvel and DC and some of the larger groups will still be able to do it, but like Mad Cave and Vault and some companies that were either surviving or beefing up margins with by bundling in variant covers, I think there'll be a smaller appetite from that, and it'll be, I mean, when I look at Whatnot, it is getting slammed by people trying to, like really having to push hard with lots of variant covers, trying to make some sort of number. And it feels like there is a limit to customer appetite for that.
All right, so let me share my point, and then we'll allow any counters, and that'll be the end of round one. And I'm calling it round one because I have a couple rounds here. Then we'll go through 3. So my prediction, which is similar to Tom's but a little different. I think the prediction of 2024 is I think the direct market is going to get a hit book this year. I really do. It's been a couple of years with Distillery, with all these big names having these small little Ghost Machine, all these small little things. One of them, they're good enough writers. One of them can get a fucking hit, I hope. So I think that'll help out a little bit. I don't think Walking Dead, let's use Walking Dead as the last biggest hit. I know we've had Saga that was after. Even a hit takes 2 years to be a hit. So, but I do think one of those ones are going to hit and going to start bringing people back to the stores. I think that's good. However, that being said, I think the term indie comics is really going to hurt the indie community because all these new companies, Distillery, Bad Idea, Ghost Machine, all these things kind of start mushing that thing. And I know all of them are going to go to Kickstarter because they're not stupid. They see the trends. They know it. They watch Sean Gooder Murphy kill it on Zorro. They've seen, Boom Studios and all these people doing it. So I think the term indie comics is going to get very muddy, and I think that's going to be bad for some of us guys who are just Kickstarter creators who aren't in the direct market. I think that's going to make things a little muddy. I don't think it's a problem. I just think the term is going to get muddy, and it's already muddy now. Like indie comics versus small press versus all these terms that we make to differentiate yourself, to try to be different. Ryan Kincaid's here. The strong will survive, the gimmicks will fall.
Not wrong.
It isn't muddy. I think Kickstarter is going to be really tough. I think the overabundance of sexy comics, and I'm not talking about Tom's comics. I'm talking about the literal sexy comics, the not safe for work comics, not bad girl comics. We've had those forever. The Lady Deaths.
Just say the P word.
the bed box comics.
I didn't bring it. Don't you put that evil on me.
It's so funny that I said all the porn stuff and he was like, I'm gonna do all these kids books.
Yeah, for real. I was planning against this. I knew it from the start.
I think that they're gonna have a huge influx, at least in the first 2 quarters, because they did so well in the last 2 quarters. So I think that's going to be the thing. I do think that's going to balance out too, but I think it's going to be rough. And I think we're going to see those people that Tom talked about. There's going to be some people frustrated and quit, and the other frustrated people are going to go to that market because it's easy. I'm not trying to dismiss, your talent or anything. If this offends you, sorry, it's easier. It's easier to sell boobs and sex than it is to do the work and make compelling stories and all that. It's easier to have that cover, that not safe for work cover. When you're buying one cover and you get 4 out of it, it's cheaper than me who has to buy 1 cover and I don't get any that special variant stuff. And again, nothing against it. I want people to get it. I've actually gone on record to say I used to work at a comic store, and those people who came in to get those content, I really like that they don't have to come at the 5 minutes before close to get their little bag because they feel uncomfortable because they don't be judged, right? So I don't. So I think that market's going to hit, and I think that's going to hit hard. And I think I think the economy is going to, though the economy seems to be getting better. It is a presidential election year, which by the board means it's going to be bad. I think you're going to see a lot of the people who struggle to reach the 1,000 and the 1,500 marks. They're going to struggle a lot in this upcoming year, and I think a lot of those guys are going to be falling off. I don't think you're going to get, and we've actually started seeing it last year. Tell me if I agree. We see a lot less rallies like those anthologies that are so close, and it just needs $5,000. We see a lot less of those rallies these days because it just doesn't work like it used to, because there's a lot less money to be had. So those ones that are close to funding, it's coming less and less. So I think those are the big predictions for 2024. I do think I think Marvel and DC, I don't think they have a plan yet to get anything better, but well, it's hard to see. You know, X-Men, if X-Men 97 does well, and I can't think of his name right now, the new Jim Brever's taking over the X-Men. If you can make X-Men good, all Marvel becomes good. It's proven. Like every time X-Men is really good, the rest of Marvel tends to be really good.
Yeah, but we still have the problem of just awareness that it's good.
Oh, sure. There's all sorts of other things that make that way difficult. And you and I've talked about, like, the reason why I think manga works and the compelling manga is I think readers want long form storytelling, but
that was going to be my next question. So I keep getting this: readers want long form storytelling. Readers want 60 issue, if we're talking like, in floppy dynamics, 60 issue storylines with the same creative team across the whole thing. Well, at the same time, it's almost economically impossible to do that unless you don't care about money. So how do you bridge that gap?
Yeah, that's a tough thing.
You can't, because you can't put one artist on 60 issues of a book anymore. It simply doesn't happen. Those days are infinitesimally gone. I mean, they're gone. I can't even remember the last time a guy did more than a dozen maybe issues, and then the book probably rebooted at that point, and they just started over with a new art team.
Saga's probably it right now.
Well, yeah, okay, so but
that's true. But
Saga also comes and goes. It's not a monthly, it goes on hiatus for 6 months and comes back, and hiatus again and comes back. So they take their time, but that is a good point. Indie comics are sort of the exception. Invincible had Ryan Ottley forever, so on and so on. But I think we're talking more in the lines of the mainstream guys, whatever you want to call them, the big two. Whatever the X-Men and the Avengers are, they seem to reboot every year or two, and then you have new people and new stories, and everything reboots and retcons and shifts and changes, and that's the problem. Manga doesn't do that. Manga, you have 1 through 40, and you have a story and character, and then you're done. Right. And comics doesn't have that. They have it in smaller things, like I said, 6 to 12 issues, and then you've kind of told a story, and then you move on.
I think the big two could, but I think their metrics are set up in such a way that don't allow it. But I've heard it in terms of, and where it's really tough in the indie space. Like this is an issue that's making it difficult for, or at least let me put it this way, the small publisher space difficult to grow. Even in Kickstarter, just because the nature of it is, it's hard to do. From what I've seen, it's hard to do more than one or a few issues of a book in a year. So a long form storytelling through Kickstarter might take decades. It is hard to maintain, an audience that long.
It's a different beast when you do it that way. If you're putting out 4 issues a year instead of 12, that's a completely different animal, and it requires a sort of a control of your audience so that they understand this is what we're doing. It comes out here. But so many crowdfunding people are like, well, we'll do 1 a year, maybe 2 a year. And if you're talking about long form, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12, 20, that will take forever. And people often won't have the attention span or the interest to last that long. That's why a lot of things that you see on crowdfunding specifically are either big books, like what Travis does, like the big books, like 1 big book, or just like, hey, we're doing 4 issue miniseries, done, and then if we want to do more, we'll do more, stuff like that. So it is a different beast on crowdfunding for sure.
All right, so let's hear some of the concerns. Joe, you had some concerns.
No, I don't think it was concerns. I think it was more of I have to respectfully disagree with some of those things that I think we've had a lot of these different times in I haven't been creating on Kickstarter as long as you guys have, right? I've been consuming Kickstarter stuff probably as long as you guys have, and have been creating on there. So I've kind of seen how Kickstarter used to work and how it changed and morphed and everything. And I'm also just, noticing different trends. I think we have to acknowledge, number one, the popularity of a manga, right? That is 1 through 40 is, I think I think we're not looking at the other side of the glass there, where we're saying yes, people do most likely want long form uh, uh, reading, right? But I think we have to look at the other side of it, and it's about the popularity and about being a fan. You know, when I see these manga kids out there in the cons and stuff, they want to live the lifestyle of that manga, right? And if you have just a short, 5 issue series of that manga, then the popularity is not going to be there, right? So these long format books give you the popularity of creating this like lifestyle and this. I'm an anime kid, right? I'm a manga kid because I read something, and then when you say you read that one thing, people are like, oh yeah, that's got like 200 issues. I'm in, right? So I think we got to look at it at the popularity of it, right? Same thing with the NSFW books, right? I think we have to look at the popularity of it. We also have to look at it's also something you can't get into in a shop, right, as much. So we're it's all about popularity and things. And I think people now are showing us that they don't necessarily need or want long format. I think they're wanting more short form because now, and I come from a podcasting thing, right? 2020 we had a bubble as well where people were listening crazy to podcasts. We hit almost 2 million downloads with one of the networks that I work with, and um, right? So people were wanting long format listening as well, but now we have to struggle to get anywhere and get 500,000, and it's because people want they I don't think they want to consume long formats because we got TikTok, we got shorts, we got all these little things that as soon as they see something, if they're not into it, they're done with it. And I think the point I guess the point that I'm making is we have to acknowledge that there's popularity in these different things that create these huge fan bases, and I think we have to tap into that. Marvel, yes, they have all these movies, right? And you can talk to a Marvel fan, they have no idea that comic shops exist at all. But if we could tap into the popularity of weird, right? Because a comic book movie, you're going out to see one, but you have no idea that comic books exist. So how do we tap into the popularity of something like that? And that's more of what I was kind of acknowledging. And I think we here have all done that within our own little audiences. And I think that's where I was saying I don't agree with that.
I think one of the tricks with the long and short form storytelling, though, and this is a problem that I've seen in comics for a long time, is there's a lot of short story stuff, like tons of it. And I'm talking about just like a 6-issue miniseries and then you're done. But all of that stuff, while it could be cool and it could be a cool story and it could be cool characters, once it's done, if there's nothing else, it's in the wind. I mean, it's literally for the most part gone. Unless it's something like for example, like a Millar Universe thing, right? Where you're like, well, I read Kick-Ass, so I'll read Ambassadors, so I'll read whatever. But there's tons of stuff that just comes out, and it's like, well, here's a story. It's like, okay, cool, and this was awesome. Is there more? Do I get more? I like these characters. I like the situation. Is there more? Nope, we're done. Oh, okay. And it gets pushed aside, basically forgotten, and then they're on to something else. Whereas if you have long form storytelling, even if it's in the context of like volume 1, 6 issues, volume 2, 6 issues, volume 3, 6 issues. If you have long form storytelling, that's where you start to actually literally push your readers into the world. Because now they're like, I want more. Oh, there's more. I want more. Oh, there's more. I want more. Oh, there's more. So you can immerse them into the world in the long form storytelling a lot easier than just the quick bang. You can get a good quick bang. Don't get me wrong. You can make a good quick, here's our story. Pow. It's powerful. It's good. It's awesome. Okay, awesome. Then they move on to something else. So
I'm right there with you, man. Long form, right? But if that was true, they really wanted it, wouldn't it be happening?
Well, but that's what I'm doing. I'm literally in that right now. I have 3 series alone
I have never heard of you before now.
Well, that's fine, but I've never heard of you. So
exactly.
It's irrelevant. Exactly. But what I'm saying is I've been doing this now for 13 years. I have 3 series alone that are up into the 30 issues of each of these, and I put them each on hiatus a little bit every now and then so that we can move to another one and focus on another one. But as I'm doing that, I always am getting people asking me, When is more Penny for Your Soul coming? When is more Legend of Oz coming? So they are invested in the world and the characters, and they want more. And so I think, and I'm saying this is a right or wrong way. I'm just saying that there is value in the long form, particularly if you can find a way to focus on it, right? So I wouldn't say come in and, like, if you're going to do 6 Kickstarters in a year, I wouldn't say do 6 different titles and then reset again and do 6 different titles. I'd say come in and do like 3 of one title and hyper focus, and then do your little side projects, and then do it again, hyper focus, little side projects. That way you're allowing those worlds to build the way that your audience wants. Now, it's clearly still not 12 issues a year. I mean, that's not going to happen with what we do, but I think there's ways to do it. They just have to kind of be understood.
Yeah, I work with some guys who do they have a book that's going to be ongoing, and they do a book. They do maybe 2 or 3 issues in a year, and then they take a break, and they do 1 or 2 in between, and then they go again. Because you're right, there is value in long format, right? Because what is that golden number that all audience in the world that we are trying to sell our books to? What is that golden long format number that we can all figure out together? Like, because I'm right there with you. Like, if we can get them to consume this long form stuff, and if we can get people to actually do it and pay people and pay them well, then yes, let's do it. Let's figure out that golden freaking thing, right?
I don't think there's a final number. I think it's just more, how much do you want to focus on it? And do you have, and this is something that Marvel and DC will never have, and that's an end, right? And that's what a lot of manga has. A lot of manga, you'll run your 40 volumes, and that's it. You're done. We're kaput. We're wiping our hands, and we're going off to a new thing. So for me, like when I do Critter and Oz and Penny for Your Soul, these all these books have definitive endings. I already know how they end. How fast I want to end them is up to me, how I tell the story, how the fans stay engaged. If they're really going, we're going to keep trying to find a little ways, we can do little spin-offs and, expand the world. But they all have finishes. Like even Invincible had a finish, right? He did he did like 25 volumes of it, and then it was over. It was finished. So I think everybody should come in. If you're going to do long-form storytelling, I think you need to come in with an understanding that you need an ending. And if your audience, I think that's almost a selling point too, because I've told my fan base, there's an ending to this. It will end. We know how it ends. People get excited about the fact that it kind of has an ending, and they want to see how you get to that ending. I think that's a kind of a key, almost marketing piece when you're at the beginning of your story, to just, instead of it being open-ended like Spider-Man Forever, to say, yeah, we're probably going to do about 10 volumes, and then it's going to be done. And then people kind of get it in their head like, ooh, okay, I'm in for this journey.
A good example of that is like television. It's another form of media. The greatest like TV shows of all time, like Breaking Bad, The Wire, they started with an ending already written. Mm-hmm. And look at how people responded to that, and look how they took that.
Well, I think you look at, even the mainstream, if you look at the last 5 years, the book that people are talking about is Chip Zdarsky's Daredevil run. At the beginning, middle, and end. You got to end it. You talk about Batman, Scott Snyder's run, beginning, middle, and end. Had long-form storytelling in short bursts. Mm-hmm. Again, Hickman's Fantastic Four. All these things that are the things that matter in the last little bit of Marvel have that, and they've let them do their thing. It's the other series where there's 6 months, and what Tom's saying is right. We do the 6 issue. That 6 issue doesn't matter for the next 6 issue. This doesn't matter for the next 6 issue. It's just we need that new number 1 to get this next thing. We're just telling little mini stories that aren't connected, and if they are connected, they're so little connected because of the author, the writers or artists are changing so drastically. You can't even tell or find it. But those are good. So we are at 11. So I want to give a little bit of time for promo. Does anybody have anything who's not Tom and Joey, because you talked for a bit? Anything else you want to add to this part of our discussion? We're going to do a couple of ads to show a couple of people's stuff, and then we'll go to the next part.
Well, I probably have to go in a little bit, so I'll be quick because I was thinking about it. I didn't get it. I'm doing the whole idea in my head for American Dreams, volume-wise, like 1 volume of 5 issues, 1 volume of 5 issues, and so on and so forth. But also going back to accessibility and people saying there's no commercials for, comic books and comic stores. Ever since James Gunn has been on board at DC Films, even before that with the Suicide Squad film, he's been championing the comics. So we at least have someone in these studio conglomerates championing the comics, putting the comics at the end of the trailers, saying, "Go to your local comic book shop and buy your comic here." And when he gave his short list of books he was recommending for his this first phase of the new DCU, those sales went up at comic shops, at bookstores, on Amazon. Those books went out of print. So you just need a good champion or two, not just the big two, but everywhere for comics, and you'll help and get people to comic shops and more accessibility to comic book shops, because that's the problem. Not that many anymore, so accessibility is a problem, and the problem is they don't all ship. So again, accessibility is a problem in that direction. But at the end of the day, I think there's nuggets of truth in everyone's been saying. Even when we can start going into fisticuffs, well, verbal fisticuffs. But yeah, and I do think there's for example, Chip Zdarsky currently on Batman. Yeah, they switch artists, every second or every arc or so, but his story is still continuing. But then you have something like Ram V's Detective, but I think it's just been him and one artist on this really long form, interconnected, literally operatic detective run. So it's there in the big two, here and there. But I've been noticing too, they've been focusing more on the miniseries side than more the long form books of late.
And long form is not I mean, I like it, and I think there is a lot there as far as, just from what I hear, as far as bringing readers back. But there's no perfect antidote, because not every long form is going to get a readership. Some of those, they've gone on for a while, but they haven't necessarily connected, like some stuff even from the big two, but they haven't necessarily connected to an audience. They're just sort of going on. And there seems to be some of that, and unfortunately we're sort of tethered to that, because at least in the small press and up, anytime you have anyone who has any sort of exposure to the direct market, the big two is how anyone finds your book. So you're kind of tethered to their success as your success in a very trickle down economics fashion. But unfortunately, sometimes it is
that Texas is coming out, Josh. I've never heard of it before, but that Texas mentality.
And one last quick thought before.
I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying sometimes you can't escape it, no matter.
I agree. I'm just joking.
And one last quick thought before I go, because I can only do one or two, maybe see if I could push a Kickstarter a year, because economics and everything. I only make so much money. I can only push out so much product at once. Oh, this sounds terrible product. But I do want to have at least one American Dreams release every year, because that's my flagship. So whatever. I literally have someone ask me every week or every other week, so when's the next issue? I'm like, we're working on it. It's coming. There's more details to come. But it's in the pipeline. There's more to. So I always have a couple other things. I also like having a couple other things, on the back burner. So when they're ready to go, and I just need something, on it goes. Because for me, it's my personal economics. I'd love to be able to do 4, 6 hours a year, Cat Calamia does, or a whole bunch of other people do. It's for me, financially, not in the cards. Which unfortunately it's the case for some people, but you never know. On that note, night, guys.
I actually don't see Seb's comments, so but all right, yeah, no, well, that's some great comments there. Does anybody else have anything before we do a little bit? So Daniel, you got to say goodbye. Thanks for coming out.
Bye.
Bye.
See you, Daniel.
You gotta leave, Jim? I know you said you have to go.
Yeah, you got people waiting in the wings.
I have at least one.
Okay, I'll give him my spot. That's cool. Thanks for inviting me, Travis. And I just want to quick say, once again, thanks to the indie community. I kind of want to have a conversation with Joey when he gets free, because that's one of the things, too, I think, is providing services. I noticed that's one of the things he's been doing. I'll still be watching from backstage. that's something I think that indie creators can kind of do for each other a little bit. Travis and I have talked about this. We know we want to do something, but it's not always easy to know what to do, right? So that's one of my angles that I'm going to be figuring out. So I appreciate what you guys are doing, and I'm grateful for all the support. See you soon.
Yeah. One of the things that I think Joey's that I meant to mention in my predictions before I go to the ads is I think Joey's on the cusp of what people are doing. I think one of the needs in our community.
Upcoming third anniversary of January 6th attack Capitol. The chilling new poll is out.
Are you, Joe?
Somebody's TV on.
That's Joe. I think Joe was ready to talk, so he unmuted. One of the things I think that's happening is, unlike years past, one of the problems with comics as a whole is we had Wizard Magazine forever to tell us what to buy, what was cool. And then we had Bleeding Cool and Newsarama. They told us what. Then we had the Comic Beat to the lesser extent, but now they're all spread out. Now, if you look at any of those sites, comics are like the fourth thing that they talk about. Right. They talk about new Pokemon Go, whatever video game came out, the latest comic book movie. There's no art. So I've noticed that there's a few people, not just Joey, we're going to talk about Joey's first, but who are making magazines that are kind of filling that gap to kind of do that. And I think that that's really cool. And I think one of these are gonna hit in 2024, and we're gonna have that guide, because besides of a few podcasters, really no one knows who to trust to tell you what to read, right? So yeah, let's do some ads
real fast. Travis, if you got 1 minute, I'll make it short. But just to tag on to the end of that, I just wanted to mention that, Tom, everything you just said, I was trying to find a way to squeeze it in, but a lot of that was something me and my buddy John have been discussing as well, is the difference between long form and short form and which way we should go with it. I just wanted to quickly say that I appreciate your take on it and everything, because it kind of solidified some things for me. You could probably rewind the tape and see me in real time go, oh crap, I need to do something different. Mainly because for my first series, Artificial, I planned for just 8 issues, 8 to 12, that way just 3 volumes. Or play around with that, and that's mainly because my mindset was more of the idea of the economical side of where I could maybe get this many out in this amount of time, and I also don't want to string people along for 12 years for 12 issues and then not have an audience by the end. So what's the point?
That's right.
So that was my original plan, but just because I wasn't sure how it was going to go, you know what I mean? That's kind of like just planning for failure. Is basically what that was.
Yeah, of course.
So,
I get you. Yeah.
So at this point, though, I mean, I appreciate it because it does make me rethink it, because I'm similarly in a spot where I have an ending. I have the last panel written. I have everything written.
That's fun, right? When you know how it ends, it's almost fun.
It's actually
kind of get yourself there.
I love it so much to the point where I have one huge fan, and I almost just want to tell him the last panel. And I don't know why I want to do it. I want to ruin it for him. I feel bad, but I'm not going to do that. That's awesome. But yeah, it's that mindset of like, okay, I have the ending. I could wrap this bad boy up in 8 issues, and it'll be a nice succinct little story, and that'll be good. But that mindset of like, okay, maybe there's I don't always use the word culture, but maybe there's like a cultural impact that could be attained within this small storytelling if I elongate it and get a bigger fan base and like all that stuff. So like that makes me rethink it a smidge to where maybe I will write some extra fluff, so impactful fluff, but impactful fluff.
I will say this: the only people who I see who are doing better than me, who start at the same time as me, are the people who didn't do what I did and have a series here for that. It's the people who stuck to the same series. Those people are trumping me. They're doing very well, and they keep growing every time. Where I've jumped around a lot, some of my books beat them, some of them are lower than theirs, but they are consistently growing. Where I am, depending on the title, depending on the fan base, because I didn't build that strong base because I jumped around.
Well, it seems like it seems like you have 2 options for building a brand: build a brand for your title, or build a brand for yourself as a creator. And it's still sort of a lot easier to do it for a title than it. I mean, you can do it as a creator, but some of that's out of your hands. So you don't, you can do all the work and it won't work. And it seems a little easier for a single title.
Right. All right, so let's show a couple of books. So people can back stuff, do stuff. Bye, Tim.
See you. Good luck, everybody.
Joey, tell us about types.
So I before we get into this, I do want to say I have nothing against long form, right? Because this is what I'm trying to do here. I'm trying to create something long format here that is going to continuously be promoting you guys, right? So I'm not against it. I just wanted to point out an observation that I noticed about people and asking people and looking at what people are consuming and I listen, I'm all about it, and I'm right there with you. I've seen people. I work with tons of people who've done different things. I recently worked with somebody who couldn't get past their mark, and they're not going to do comics anymore. So I'm right there with you. But archetypes. This is so this is kind of like what I was saying. This is what I want to do to give back to the community. What I do is Gate Collective is a creative studio. We contract working comic pros to do all kinds of different things for anywhere and anything from concept to shelf. That's what we do. We help you do all that stuff. So, but this book, we have 3 new comic books that have not been released. We have one by the team behind Grandma Chainsaw and Horse in Hell. They're going to be doing a book here that's called Beneath the Lighthouse. We have one from Benjamin Morse. He does all kinds of really great stuff. He's got his own book called Scarlet Twilight, and we're going to see a little spin-off here from one of his characters in this one. And a brand new breakout creator, Raphael Flores Jr., who has Mother Wolf and Cubs. This is the first time that it's going to be published. This is a really cool short story, and he's going to be bringing this one out as an ongoing series as well. So we're going to be featuring those 3 new comic books. We're also going to we have a couple of different media outlets that are doing articles and write-ups and interviews. We have a question and answer about press releases and how important they are, and giving you a little bit of insight into how to write them, and giving you some links and stuff like that to go and look up at examples of how to do those things. And none of those things we did, but it was we asked a working professional who's done prose and has worked in magazines and all this stuff, and they know the importance of press releases and things of that nature, and how they can do magical wonders when you have a real well-written press release about your project. So I just wanted to say that, and I did want to apologize, Tom, if I did offend you.
No, not at all.
Nothing. I do love debating and talking about marketing and stuff, because I follow trends just like you do, and I see a lot of people, consuming short stuff, and I was actually questioning this too: is short form or long form going to be the future of comic books? And a lot of people, like Travis said, that we have a lot of friends who have ongoing books, and they're doing amazing, right? And we also have a lot of creator friends who kind of do the same kind of things. They kind of piece things out. So that's what this magazine's going to be about, is asking those questions, and how can we better ourselves by asking one another and getting those kind of insights. So we're going to be dropping that in February.
The link is in all the comments, guys. So make sure you click on it. It costs you nothing. Just click to get notified that it
please
launches.
Follow. Yeah. We're going to be doing that in February. We have a timeline to get those printed in March, May, the latest. But we have my plan is to have them already printed. This is, absolute everybody hits their deadlines, right? Which is coming up here in a couple of weeks. So if you guys are watching, make sure you get off and go do your thing. But if we hit our deadlines, we're going to go to print before this even goes live on Kickstarter, so that when we go Kickstarter, everything's been done, things have been handled, and we're going to print it, and then we're going to use the money from the Kickstarter to ship everything out. So
nice. All right. Well, next up, we have a Kickstarter that's live.
Yeah.
What's going on with the last one? There has been 2 issues of this.
Yeah.
2.
So the last one is actually, so I'm promoting real quick. I'll make this quick as well. We're kind of building you remember how you said building a brand over whether it be a specific IP or actually yourself? Well, we went the route of trying to build like a brand, not necessarily just yourself, but so I have a co-creator. His name's John Shell III. He is working on, this was his flagship IP, The Last Wand, and this is his second issue campaign that's currently live. So I definitely wanted to give it a shout out and have it be promoted because it is quote unquote under the Bent Box moniker. It's a really cool series so far. Obviously, it's gotten some pretty good reviews, and he has
Apparently
a very
only
similar.
Tyler likes it.
It's got a similar plan to be fairly long form as well, and he also wants to make this one of his main ones that he establishes and promotes throughout the year and has a decent amount of content out. So, this is just one that I would love to promote, but it's part of the Bentbox family, I guess you could say.
All right. Well, let's share that link out so everybody can get it real quick.
Yep. 13 days left. So please and thank you.
I bought the first one, believe it or not, and I apologize to John. It's on my stack over here of Kickstarter books that I have not read, but I did back the first one.
Okay. We'll change that and then back the second one. We're good.
Yeah, I backed the first issue as well for the PDF, and I had to hold back my tears, man. That thing is John hits hard in his writing, man. And the artist
John's a good writer
and does justice for his writing. So I cannot wait for issue 2.
And a lot of it comes from a broken heart, so it's a good story. I appreciate.
Is this horror fantasy?
Yeah, it's got a little bit of both because it's looking at multiple different characters. The second issue is actually about the come ups of the main villain of the whole series. So it's got some gore. It's pretty wild. It's really good.
And because apparently, even though you don't know me, you're like, I can do whatever the heck I want. I have 2 campaigns to promote because I'm a big deal. So tell us about your other one here.
Well, if you want, I can give you 3 more links because, like I said, Bentbox is trying to be a brand. So, like, we have a guy out in Scotland right now who has his own that he's going to be launching a Kickstarter soon under Bentbox. So we're trying to build more of a brand that is more recognizable, and then we have individual writers within it that are doing their own IPs that have all full, creative control. This one's mine. So this one's the best, if you ask me. But Artificial number 2. So this is the one I mentioned earlier, the IP I've been working on. So this is the second issue. We have a plan to have it fully completed before even launching the Kickstarter. So I'd love signups. That'd be great. It's kind of about, it's a hero's journey, and it's focused on Vincent van Gogh. If you're not familiar with the first issue, it's basically about AI and its complete destruction of the human race in the future. And the only way to save it is through creatives like us, writers, painters, that sort of thing. So it kind of puts that fish out of water element into a sci-fi comedy, but it's got a lot of heart, and I'm really proud of it so far. So this is the one that I told you that could very easily be long form, but wasn't the plan. So now it's kind of the plan. Thanks to Tom. I'll put that at the end of issue 194. We'll say thanks, Tom.
All right. So there's that. So that's been in the comments. Again, it costs you nothing to follow it. It's not a big deal. Just follow the campaign. You'll get a message, and then you can see if you like it. You can make that decision then. And then another one in the same glam is Critter. This is the year of the Critter, is what I hear.
Somebody said something about that. Yeah,
someone said something about that. Talk about long form, 22 issues. Are you even indie, bro?
Yeah, 22. This is 22 issues of the ongoing series. We did 5 issues prior as a miniseries, so it's actually 27 issues, and then we've done a bunch of spin-off things as well. So we've got over 30 issues of the Critterverse in print. So this is actually 2 things that we're funding. We're funding a brand new issue number 22, but we're also collecting volume 5 for the first time ever as well. So there'll actually be 2 books that we're crowdfunding at the same time in this. But this will be continuing and wrapping up now volume 6, which I'm super excited about because as we've been talking about long form storytelling, I've been telling sort of the concept of the Critterverse and these parallel dimensions that everybody's sort of gotten used to now because Marvel and DC have done this to death. But we have a Critterverse with various Critter versions from different parallel dimensions. But as you can see from our little tagline there, not all multiverses are created equal. This is finally going to be the story where we get to unravel all of the little threads that we've been laying for the last 13 years for putting this series out. And I'm super, super excited about it. We have Omar and Hedwin Zaldivar doing the art, which just is mind-blowingly cool. I'm super excited about the story. Again, this is sort of like you've reached this point of like, we have all these questions. Now we get to answer them. It's going to be really awesome. If you haven't read Critter before, though, you can dive in as easy as just grabbing volume 1. That's available for you. If you want to dive into all 5 volumes plus the new one, you can do that as well. Everything Critter is here on the campaign. Plus, obviously, just the new issue. If you just want to kind of start here, you can do that too.
Yeah, and I wanted to show a bigger picture of Critter real quick. Just to kind of show the character a little bit bigger than what Kickstarter allows.
Yeah, so that's the cover. That's actually Hedwin Zaldivar right there. So that's kind of what the art's going to look like in the series. The interiors will look like that. So yeah, Critter is, and then we've got we've got one of our little standees right here. Yeah. So that's Critter there for you. It's old school, fun superhero stuff. I grew up with comics in like the 70s and 80s. That's where my origins are. And so when I started writing Critter, it was very that sort of tone and texture of what I wanted it to be. It's fantasy costumes, it's utility belts, it's science fiction, it's all of the things that made comics awesome in the 70s and 80s in a, now a modern setting. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So Joe, tell us a little bit about Child's Play Comics. Let's do that next. If I can find the link.
Yeah, so we just had our very first Kickstarter here in the fall. We were one of those people that jumped in that 300 you were talking about. So thankfully we survived it, and we put out our book, which is Child's Play Comics 0. So we had actually done a bunch of smaller releases prior to that, just on our own, just taking them to cons and different shows. So rather than come up with a bunch of new things, since nobody knew who we were like, let's take all that we've done so far and collect it. And then we put one extra new story in here. So this is actually 3 stories in this 44-page book. So I'm going to take the extra stock from all the Kickstarter books I've already sent out, and I'm going to restock our website. I'm going to open up the TikTok store as well, because I know a lot of creators are having success with that and been on TikTok for a little bit. And so this basically covers, everything we do is either all ages or teen books. That's just something that's important to me and my wife. Like I mentioned earlier, she's an educator. So, even when we had our store, it was always cool to see, young kids come in and actually try comics. It wasn't, of course we had manga too, but it wasn't just all that. So our goal is to put stuff out there that, parents can feel safe about handing to their kids, and they don't have to ask, everything in here appropriate. And I even have some titles on there from a few other indie creators as well, just people I've made friends with along the way. But yeah, this is designed to be a good jumping on point to our world. I can go over the 3 stories real quick that we do, kind of to talk about. You guys have been discussing long and short form. We have a kind of a little bit of both in here. So the main character, which is like the mascot of our company, is Malia Mayhem here. And she's actually based off my wife because, we're both big nerds, but she loves like cosplay and tabletop gaming and going to cons, and, so do I. But like in our store, she was the game master and I was the comic book guy. So that's how we kind of balanced each other out. And so we came up with this story to where this 9-year-old girl finds a magical D20, and it teleports you to a world where basically all our favorite tabletop games come to life, right? So every issue we get to have fun with one of our favorite tabletop games. Like in issue 0, she goes into like a D&D inspired world. In issue 1, which we're going to kickstart here this year, she'll go into more like a Settlers of Catan inspired world. So kind of to you guys' point about, you know, whether to do long or short, the way I designed this story, because we can pretty much have a play in any sandbox per issue, is we have an ending in mind, and the ending can kind of fit anywhere after her adventures. But it's one of those where, like, the more adventures she goes on, the more satisfying the ending will be. It'll be, I always kind of describe it like it would be like when you've watched a movie and it ends and you're like, well, that was good, but I kind of wish that was like a TV series instead. That would kind of be the feeling if we don't get to take this very long. So that's one of the stories in here. The second story is called How to Hunt a Hero. And that one is one that I've worked with a friend since college, where basically that used to be a very traditional origin story, and we kind of flipped it and we started doing it from the point of view of the villain. And so with this one, in this world, there's a rich young girl who basically is a cryptid hunter. In that world, you know, Bigfoot exists, the Loch Ness monster, things like that, and there are no superheroes in that world, but all the cryptids have some sort of like superpower, basically, right? So like Bigfoot has super strength, you know, Mothman of course can fly, things like that. So as she collects them and she learns that they each have these powers, concurrently with that, she learns, or she meets in college, this guy named Joe, which is modeled after me and my friend who draws the book, who's basically just us, like, you know, we loves comics, love all kinds of nerdy things. Well, she decides that not only does she like him, but she's going to make his dreams come true of becoming the world's first superhero. So she secretly infuses him with all the powers of these cryptids, and she essentially lays out this narrative for him to where she's going to create his origin story, basically, because she knows how an origin story goes. She's going to manipulate it to where, you know, she gets to make him decide to have a costume. He's got a couple of best friends that of course are all into it and they want to help him along. And she eventually becomes like his arch nemesis, but like in that suit that you see there. So she's, you know, constantly doing this anonymously, because her plan is that eventually she'll be like, hey, I did this for you. You know, I made your dreams come true. Aren't you happy? And it's kind of that question of, you know, if somebody forcefully does that to you, did your dreams really come true, or, you know, or was it all artificial? And the last story in here is a brand new story by one of my friends who actually works in the video game industry, and this is his foray into comics. It's called Teen Strike, and that one is based kind of like, we all met in college, but we all grew up in South Texas, which is a very, like, a lot of small towns. That's where we grew up in. And, you know, we're all Hispanic, so we kind of wanted to put a spin on the teen superhero story, where it was kind of from that point of view. And so that one we're going to be kickstarting this year as well. So we got three lined up, just spinning out of this book, and that's what this book was always designed to do, was to kind of give everybody a sampling of those stories. And basically, you pick and choose what you like, and then you can kind of, you know, watch for that Kickstarter coming up.
Nice. Oh, thanks, Joe. That was a lot. There's a lot of stuff going on there. But John, the link is in the chat. So if you guys click on it, where is it? No, it's not. It is not in the chat. It will be in the chat. I thought it was in the chat. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Child's Play? Yeah, it's in there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, cool. All right. So that's been shared out to everything. The next one we're going to talk about is my boy, the Flock. What? Ikvia, you sent me 47 links. Which one do you, should I go to global? Should I go to what you're sharing here? What should I do?
Just share the one that I have here.
This one?
So, yep. Okay. Perfect.
Are you drawing it live? Yeah, are we going to have to sit here for the next 3 hours? This comic is brand new, never came out. We're going to draw it live. Long form. This stream is never ending.
So this upcoming Kickstarter campaign that we're going to do is going to be releasing on March. This is the Flock, the Sidekick Adventures. So pretty much the sidekick is now having his own sidekick in that situation, but he has a furry sidekick along his way. And this is basically like an anthology of like other creators that were fans of the Flock series, and we gave them opportunities. Scott approached them, and it'll be like an 8 or 9 pages short story format. I even submitted my story, so I mean, this is pretty exciting stuff. And with the Sidekick Adventures, it's just like a short format story of 8 to 9 pages in total of 40 pages of content. So we're planning to launch on March and Kickstarter, as well as this is family friendly, and that this is a project that I was passionate about since like within 3 years. It's not personally my project. I pretty much was a colorist for the Flock issue 2 through 5, and I mean, it's been quite of a journey. It's been like a 3-year journey. So me and Scott, we've been talking, and due to things that were going on with the campaigns, that like we're noticing that there's more digital backers and physical backers. So me and him were talking, and we think like, okay, like let's do like an origin story of each of these characters, or a short format story, and that we'll do black and white just to make it more affordable for backers. And we're still gonna have digital PDF and even digital catch-up tiers along the way. And then my next upcoming project, which is personally my creator own, which is Pro Wrestling Gators. If you guys don't know already, I'm a Florida guy. I had the opportunity to meet Travis on a local con in my hometown, so it was pretty awesome. I was pretty much in shock, because once I saw like Coins of Judas, I'm like, Travis, So pretty much short and sweet story. I mean, these are 4 unique gators that have their own. So pretty much we have 4 gators that have their own, move sets and their physique, and that we're gonna have some fun adventures, not only just Florida shenanigans, but pro wrestling along the way. This is something that I've developed within the past 4 years, just to like get a good ground game on it. And I just feel like confident enough, and I feel like this is a time to push it now. And even Scott's going to be helping me out too, as well. Just putting things together, since, he's been doing crowdfunding for Kickstarter and stuff like that for the past 3 years.
All right. No, it looks great, man. I can't wait for both these books. Let us know. You can read, I'm going to put in the thing, the Flock. You can read a little bit of it on Global Comics. So I'm going to put that in the link so people can find that, because I did in that. But let us know when this is gone. I'll support you. We'll figure it out. I love wrestling. I love Gator. I actually just wrote a Wear Gator, this week. So that was on Monday.
Nice.
So
look, I'm a fan of anything anthropomorphic. And like the more absurd, the better. I'm 100% on board with Pro Wrestling Gators. This is my kind of weird. I love this.
Love it.
Thank you, man.
All right. So the last one, and then we're going to get back to the talkie. It's Crook One Holiday Spirits 1 through 3. I am live. I have 8 more days to go. We got to raise about 2,500. We are doing fine. We're doing great. If anybody wants to back it, it's really cool. You can get all 3 volumes. It's a very cool anthology story that talks about horror stories that happen in the holidays. I know it's no longer Christmas, but we are still live doing our thing. We've got some great creators in here. Maybe someone you've heard of, Cullen Bunn. Maybe you've heard of him. He's pretty good. Mauro Cantalelli did Kilchella. Daniel Calvin, we just talked about American Dreams. Saw from Danny Quick. This is Cullen Bunn's story. So we've got some big people. CJ Hudson does some stuff over at Bandit Bards. David Byrne, he's a former publisher of Scout. He does a book called Canceled. We have a Canceled story in here. I do some stuff in here. Lots of really good stuff. A lot of affordable tiers. you guys know the drill, and you can buy all my other shit. See, when I said long form storytelling, look what I did. I just put a whole bunch of stuff out there. I did not follow that advice in any way, shape, or form. But I wouldn't turn it back for a minute because I love making comics. And I complete my things. Unlike a lot of people have opinions and they've never completed their first miniseries. Just say it. Say it. All right. I'm going to share that out. Does anybody need to go before I start the next topic? Because I understand it's late.
I do need to jump off here.
All right.
Yeah, me too. It's getting
All right.
to put the kids to bed.
All right. So let's go.
Yeah.
Josh first. Josh, go ahead and say your piece. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. I love Josh, by the way. I love storytelling. I wish he would write one of my anthologies. I keep inviting him, but he won't friggin'.
I am. I have been bootlegged by other stuff that you know about, but I do have a story for one of your anthologies, and I'm going to write one.
I'm waiting.
All right, and and I have a bunch of stuff I don't want to announce, and I can't say any of it yet, so I can't say anything. But Travis has heard a bunch about it, and
I know about it.
everybody
I'll be
else
involved in some way. It'll be cool. It'll be awesome. I promise.
I think so. I think so. So everybody else will in somewhere in the next couple of months. But until then, I'm keeping busy.
Well, thanks for coming on.
All right. See you around.
See you. Jay?
Yeah, this was fun. I'm glad to air quote meet everybody. I'm pumped for some wrestling gators and but yeah. I hope to hear from everybody soon. And I'm looking forward to everybody's projects.
Nice. Well, thanks for hanging out. We appreciate you being around.
Yep.
All right. You're down to 6. I had 3 more subjects, but based on how long the first
I should probably go too, Travis.
Oh, Joe's going to go too. All right. All right, Joe. All right. Well, you just talked about all your stuff, so you don't get to talk about all your stuff. You can say goodbye.
That's why I did it. I never know. No, I really do appreciate you letting me come on. I mean, it's a great company, and a lot of you guys I've only seen online, so it's nice to hear from you one-on-one. So I look forward to everything that you guys got coming out.
Nice. All right. Well, see you later, Joe. If you want to check out his stuff, click out the link, Child's Play. All right. So on my thing, I had the 24. I had it separated in mainstream and crowdfunding, but I think we mixed both of those already. I think we talked about that for the most part. So the bigger question is crowdfunding. Let's talk about crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is at a very interesting point, right? Kickstarter is still the dominant feature, and it's going to be the dominant. But that number 2 spot is crazy right now, right? We've got Indiegogo, which has Shutterbrands, which, by the way, I don't want to go to it right now, but did you know if you put an Indiegogo project up right now, you can pre-buy it, which I think is awesome. So imagine Tom's Critter. You could pre-buy in, go, hey, I want to make sure I get a spot. You spend a spot, you get a coupon, like a 10% off coupon. That's genius. That's really, really cool. So on your day one, you could launch with 1,000, 2,000 in the till of people who want this coupon or whatever the case may be, or you could do a thing. So there's cool stuff there. Zoop's doing some really cool stuff with fulfillment that people are liking. BackerKit still hasn't found their niche, but understand that BackerKit has access to all of our effing emails, right? It's got it because we've been using it for launch. So when it decides to really push, it's going to be able to do something. Why it hasn't, I think, is if you've used BackerKit, you know why it hasn't. It's not quite right. They don't know this stuff. So with all that said, what in crowdfunding do you think is going to be important in 2024? What kind of changes do you think you're going to make? We also, before you guys answer that question, we've also seen 2023 has been the biggest development year for Kickstarter. We've had more features in Kickstarter than we've ever had. I've been doing this 5 years. I think Tom's been doing it 7, right?
Yep.
Yeah. This year, from my 5 has been the biggest new features that we've ever had.
Yeah. And they still are missing the one fucking important one.
Transferring over our stuff.
Jesus Christ. Yes. I mean, who hasn't slapped him in the head yet and said, click a button and it becomes an add-on? Like, God help me having to build my campaign twice for add-ons. Like, geez, Louise.
And I wonder if it's because publishing, you know, I'm going to take comics and the other publishing wings is so niche, you know, that's not where they make the big money. They make it on, you know, these new products and stuff like that.
Sure, but they should have people in Kickstarter that are like, you know, all these comic guys are doing these add-ons.
Right.
Maybe there's a way to expedite this for them.
Yeah. Not to mention, I follow a guy on Twitter who I saw him just got hired as the department head of comics at Kickstarter. And I saw that and I was like, oh, cool. And I looked at his background and I was like, oh, okay, he knows comics. I was like, sweet, maybe we'll get some good updates. I think
he's
it was
not. He's not the head.
Yeah,
he's
Joey.
not,
Well,
he
did.
not,
Didn't he just
because that's
get
me.
like?
No, just kidding. No, he's a social media guy, and I work PR
and
I work. Did he quit?
Yeah, he's
already?
gone.
He
he lasted 6 months and he quit.
6 months. I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, whatever. So there's all kinds of cool stuff going on with the Kickstarter space, man, or the crowdfunding space.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys, that one easy way that Kickstarter can do it is just give you an area on your own profile page to create an add-on space, and then you just throw it over to each campaign. Easy, right? That would make it a whole lot easier. And then you would just continue to add new add-ons as you go and click, oh, here, I want to port over my add-ons from my profile page. There you go. Easy, right? But I got a buddy who is working on an app or a website called Comics with an X. And it's comics.one. And they what he's doing with that, he's going to be launching it. There's going to be a soft launch of the crowdfunding side of it here in the next couple months. And he's going to do crowdfunding. He also has a marketplace where you can house your books. He's already soft launched a digital side of that, and then he's going to do the physical side of it as well, where he actually prints in, because he's out of Australia. He's going to print there. He's also working with me to grab a couple other people. Hopefully, if we can get this thing going, we're going to work on some kind of distribution channel where we can get people to have drop shipments in the UK and Canada and Australia, so that when we offer services to creators like you guys, we can say, hey, let's get rid of all those crazy add-ons for when we ship overseas, and let us drop ship these to our guys, or let us work with our partners who are printers out there, and we have our person who is a distributor that lives in those countries distribute those out. And so we're working on something like that to work with this thing, and he's also got all kinds of really cool ideas that he's working on. So I think there's space, like you're saying, that second seed that everybody's looking to go after. And I think the more creative that you can be, and the more aware of what creators need, and you can fulfill that need or fill that need, I think that one might be the winner.
Yeah, but again, coming back to awareness, right? All these other places, Indiegogo and Fund My Comic and Zoop and all these places, they don't have any sort of heavy duty traffic of their own. You can drive people there. You can say, hey, I'm on Zoop, go get my book. But if you don't have absolute control of your audience to send them all there, there's not a lot of just accidental discovery on any of those other sites. And that's a key piece that Kickstarter, for whatever reason, they've managed to create sort of the Kickstarter community that's like, let me see what's there this week. And they just go flying through there. The last campaign I had 67 new to me backers. That's huge number of just accidental finds. However they found me is however they found me, but they're all people that didn't know who I was. So traffic and awareness for whoever's going to be quote unquote second place. That's where it really has to start. Yes, it's awesome to have the features, no question. Give me features, give me features. But until there's traffic, the features don't matter unless you're going to try it out as like a second chance thing. Like a lot of people do Kickstarter and then they'll take it to Indiegogo as like, hey, you missed us. We'll do a second chance over here. Come get us. And so if there's a second tier place that has cool features, people will go there and try it out for sure, 100%.
Yeah, we did that with Artificial. We did a second chance on there. But to your point, though, the funny thing is, I was looking at the metrics because it has pretty good metrics, and you can kind of see everything. Not a single, because it'll show you who showed up by Indiegogo natural selection, basically. Not one.
Yeah, it's true.
And it wasn't always like that, just so you know. Like there was a time when the search engine, they did something, they don't want to admit it, but they did something that fucked it up. People call it chat. I don't think it's shadow banning. I don't think that that's in their best interest. That doesn't make any logical sense to me. They don't have a problem putting it on their platform. I don't think it's shadow banning. I think they fucked up their search algorithms and they've never been able to fix it.
Yeah, the search problem. Their site is terrible for searching, and there's just people that don't like the format. Like they don't want to just pay for it and have it done, because in the comic book world. Like when we're over on Kickstarter, we'll just keep adding stuff. We're like, hey, we're going to do another thing. And if you do that on Indiegogo, you got to pay shipping again. I don't think they've ever figured out how to deal with the add-on element once you've made your original payment. So I think that's something that slows things down. It's not like a deal breaker or anything, but it is for some people. And some people also, because they are used to, hey, I'm going to back it on January 6th, but I know I'm not going to pay for it until January 28th. They can come in early and be like, I'm going to pledge, I'm going to help this guy out. And I know it's not coming out of my bank for 3 more weeks. Whereas the other way around, if they know they have to wait because of their own finances, you don't get that initial pop at the beginning because people are like, well, I don't have it yet. I don't have it yet. I got it. Let me get it at the end. So you could have a nice little end pot, I guess. But, like we see in Kickstarter is that gigantic first day pop. You need that first day pop to really kick everything into gear on Kickstarter and really, put you on the right path. And with Indiegogo, you really can't get that very easily.
Yeah.
Not as easy anyway, I should say.
But yeah.
Well, I think it's tough. I think obviously there's been some creators with great success over, some of these other platforms, and they bring their audience over. That's the key, is always bringing your audience over. Yep. But I do think Kickstarter needs a solid number 2. I think the fall of Indiegogo as a competitor has really hurt Kickstarter's like momentum. Like there was a competition there. There was some rivalry. There was some stuff, and it wasn't just Comicsgate versus SCW Comics. It was literally like, who's funding more? How much is making more? How many comics are on the platform? Those were discussions that were happening when we weren't fighting about CG or the other stuff. We were talking about the other metrics. Hey, why does 90 Superheroes do amazing on Indiegogos but don't do as well over on Kickstarter? Those algorithms and those discussions, which I think were really interesting. So I think one of the things in 2024 that's got to happen is doing that. And wasn't there was another one that wasn't Zoop, that wasn't Fund My Comics, that wasn't Indiegogo? Was there like a comic only one?
Yeah, I can't think of
what happened to that.
But it disappeared. I can't say it disappeared. I'm sure it's still there. But they had a problem with somebody from CG, and they kicked him out, I guess, for whatever.
Oh, reason. I think it was Mike Barron, right?
Mike Barron. Yeah.
America.
And so that kind of sent a shockwave through it.
Right.
That, I don't think it. Yeah, Crowdfunder.
Yeah, there you go.
And I'm not sure it ever really. But again, same thing, right? It's like they had some cool stuff going on that I actually really liked, but they had no traffic. And so now, granted, how do you get traffic? You put creators on there and you bring traffic to it. But those of us that do these things, the amount of time it takes to build all these campaigns, there's only so much time for us to be bouncing around to a lot of places that don't bring us something outside of some cool functionality. And Crowdfunder had some cool functionality, but it's all of these places have to figure out how to build their audience for us first before anyone who's going to be Kickstarter stars, whatever you want to call us, to be like, yeah, I'm going to go over there and try that thing out.
Well, and yeah, I think that's the big key. A lot of these people don't understand, I'm going to use the Wheelers, but not in a negative sense. When they came around, they were just like, well, if you bring your audience here, we can build this thing. Well, but I already have an audience here. Like, why would I just do that? Yeah. It doesn't make, there's got to be something beyond just crowdfunding, because Kickstarter will have great stuff. In fact, because the numbers are so low right now, even though I just lost a big backer, which sucks. That's a $300 backer while we're on. What happened? I assume somebody said something to offend somebody.
It was the porn I brought, and I apologize.
Well, probably Joey when he was fighting with Mom.
It's always me. It's always me.
But my new backers, actually, I forgot. Kickstarter's. Oh no, hold on. The advanced analytics told me.
I think Kickstarter is going to be like Twitter, right? You got all these other ones popping up, but it's always going to be the one that everybody goes to.
Right. Yeah. No, I think so. I think it's, and I think it deservedly so. Because of their good algorithm. That's the negative of when we talk about. Sorry, I'm looking at numbers here. So I have 56 new backers on this who've never backed a Holiday Spirits, which is good.
Nice.
That's what I was looking for. Anyways, Kickstarter has been proven that it will bring you in organic stuff that you'll never get anywhere else, and nobody else has been able to pull that off. And that's really the question every time. All these bells and whistles for me. Will you pull in people who I don't know by yourself without me doing anything? Because that's the key, right? I believe that if you have $1,000 comic, unless you don't put no work into it, like if you put work in, put 5 pages together, I don't care how good or bad they look, I think you can fund it on Kickstarter by itself. If you're doing a minimal amount of work, sharing it out once a day to your family, I think $1,000 for $1,000 up beyond 1,000, no way, but $1,000 or more, I think pretty easily Kickstarter could do it. Would you agree with that, Tom?
Yeah. I've had all kinds of interesting conversations with this, and I've heard other people's conversations. There was one where somebody said that if you did a bad girl book of some sort, you could easily fund a $3,000 campaign, like easily, without even question. Just make it bad girls, have a few sexy covers. Sure. You will fund $3,000. The guy said, no, there's no chance. It's not possible. If you're coming out of nowhere, if it's like your first thing. So that guy that said it wasn't possible actually made a secret campaign. He created a new account.
It was
made a fake. Well, I wasn't going to say who, but he made a fake account and just a fake book and just put it out there, and it funded the $3,000 easily. And then when he saw,
never heard of this person.
Tyler, good old Drawn Top.
I have no idea. I don't think.
Yeah, none of us know you, Tyler. None of us know who you are.
Not at all.
So then
I'm deleting your number.
Told everybody who it was, and he's like, "Okay, guys, I did this test and it worked, and I was wrong. So this is my book." And then he did like another 3,000 or 4,000 or something on it once people actually knew it was him. So yeah, it's really interesting what you can do. This goes back to like what you were talking about with the not safe for work stuff. It is the hack. It is the easy way. If you want to make a comic and try and make a little money, doesn't guarantee you anything. Doesn't guarantee you're going to make 10 grand and a ton of profit or anything. But if you want to make a comic and sort of start to build something, the NSFW stuff it's the open door.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah. And I think, it's interesting because I think that it could affect you if you want to work at like Marvel or DC. But again, the odds of you working at Marvel or DC, it's like 2% of the people who make comics. So
and turning that into a successful career and having it be your big thing. Yeah, it's just
right. Do you care? Like, I mean, I care, but I think I am also in that 2% who care.
Yeah. Well, and we've seen people that have worked for Marvel and DC and have worked for Image and so on, and those guys are coming to crowdfunding now.
Right.
So even they are realizing, hey, there's something over here, and they'll crowdfund something there, and then they'll bring it back to another publisher as well, which is another thing that's happening. Scout Comics and Vault and Antarctic Press, they're like, hey, there's all this content. Just floating around in the air and it's all finished. Like, let's bring it in and bring it to the retail market. Because and that happened with me. I talked with Ben Dunn, and he's now actually taking the original Critter series that I did 13 years ago, republishing it through Antarctic Press. This is basically a third printing of Critter, guys. A third printing of Critter. And I just got numbers that it sold 1,800 freaking units as a third printing through Antarctic Press. Like, this can be done. It's the doors there are open, but you got to be able to do this in a new way. And the new way that is happening it's the infancy of it is, let's crowdfund a book. Let's get the 4 issues done. And then we're going to take it back over here and we're going to give it to Scout or Antarctic Press or somebody, and they're going to run it through retail. And all those retail people that buy it are going to be like, yo, who the hell is Travis Gibb? They're going to go online. They're going to find Travis. They're going to find his website. They're going to find his books. They're going to find his Kickstarter, and it all starts again. And that is exactly what Brian Polito did, 10-ish years ago, 9-ish years ago, when he started doing Lady Death on crowdfunding. Now, granted, he started with a brand that's 25 years old, so we don't all have that. But when he started, he wasn't doing $400,000 either. He had about 800 backers. He was doing very well, climbing. And then as soon as he dropped Lady Death back into retail stores, and this is just him using what he did over the last 2 years. So it was new to retail, but it wasn't new in the creation context. When he went back into retail, his numbers jumped through the roof, and all of a sudden it was 1,000 backers, 2,000 backers, just boom, and he became what he became. So there is a connection to retail and crowdfunding, and just general awareness, right? If the more people know who we are and what we do, that's the awareness bubble that we need to generate our brand, to generate sales for retail, to generate everything in the comic book world.
Yeah.
That's Sean and Murphy model.
Murphy just left and did Zorro to huge effect. And then that book is going to go into retail stores.
Well, even before that, I mean, he
year.
did the Plot Holes book. He did it on Indiegogo.
Yep. That's true.
I think that's the secret to comics. I think that's how we can make this work to be a viable business model. And I do it. I do it with Granite State Punk. It's a Scout book. I do it on Kickstarter. It then goes to Scout a few months later. It launches. It's great. Even Coins of Judas. Coins of Judas did really well in the direct market, but they want to do a Kickstarter because they know I have so many backers over on Kickstarter that will only back on Kickstarter. So they haven't got that. So how do we get those up? Especially when you're talking about me and Tyler. I know there's a whole other stuff on that, but me and Tyler putting that out in March, which is great. So I think that's the secret.
Yeah, I think if you can create something on crowdfunding that is high quality, unique, and fans are like, I want that, you can have a successful campaign. And then you can translate that to, okay, my campaign is done. We're going to give the basics to a publisher. And you're not going to do 20 variants again or any of that. It's just, we're sending that now to be read at the retail level. You're going to find backers that want that stuff. You're going to find readers. And then those readers are in turn going to just find you. And then if they decide, oh, I want the premium stuff, Kickstarter.
Right. I think that's
and not
good.
Everybody wants the premium stuff, but you will find people that will be like, yo, I'm missing out. Little FOMO happening.
Well, and they want it early. You get it early.
Of course, you get it early. Yeah, also true.
I do want to say one thing though. Make sure you guys head on to your LCS and tell them to put in the collected editions of Coins of Judas from Band of Bards.
True. Absolutely do that. It's coming. It's on my list. In fact, we're going to do, and Tom, you're invited. Before the end of the month, I'm going to do a diamond, like what you should order a diamond with all all my diamond friends who are doing stuff in diamond. We're going to do Band of Bards. So that'll be, it'll actually probably be next week, because I think it's due on the, no, the orders are due on the 18th. So it'll probably a couple weeks from now, probably the 17th I'll do it on. But we'll get it. We'll probably do it on the 16th, the day before the Wednesday, so they can order it when they come in the comic store. But all right, so the last thing I'm going to talk about. Are you ready? So I have made a living. My biggest Kickstarter stuff is my public domain stuff. And it looks like a lot of people are going to be joining me in this public domain sequence. Now, I had a couple of comments on that. One, it's really funny to me, people who've worked on my Cthulhu in Wonderland and Neverland yelling at the Mickey people saying that that's grave robbing, even though they literally have done it for me.
Yeah.
And it's literally Disney who did that to begin with.
Right.
Yeah. Funny. But do you believe we already have 2 on Kickstarter right now? What do we think about the mouse? Whether or not it's going to be overtaking Kickstarter, whether it's going to be a lot of mouse content, and is Disney going to show some power? Because I think there's a possibility, in my opinion, that Disney may come down hard on a couple of people to just go, "Hey,
yeah,
watch your step." What do you guys think?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree. I think we're going to see a lot of mouse soon, and we're already seeing it. I have no ill will towards people who take public domain by any means. Like you said, you did the Cthulhu and Neverland and everything, and then it is kind of ironic when you do see people with that kind of go against other things. It's like, well, just be a little consistent. That's all we want. But the only issue I end up having is whenever it's like that low hanging fruit. That just bugs me because it feels like, unoriginal and almost feels like a money grab at that point. Like, give me
anything
nice
Mickey right now is a money grab. There's no creative validity.
Well, no, I've seen a couple little concepts that were like a Mickey. Oh man, I'm gonna forget it. But it was a Mickey and another character that's public domain, like almost like a buddy cop adventure thing. No, I told you I'm not bringing the porn. Stop trying to make me bring porn. But anyway, it looked really interesting. It looked creative. It wasn't like, oh, look, Mickey's a serial killer. It's like, no, we all thought of that. Everyone thought of that.
Yeah.
Not just you. So like seeing the originality come out in some people, I'm like, hey, I'm all for it. That's fine. Yes, it is a money grab by the most pure.
I think it's a money grab only
word.
In the context of timing, right? It's
exactly.
Like,
that's what
January
I mean.
1st, we're announcing something. Ding,
exactly.
Like that's the grab, right?
That is
public.
The grab.
Public domain is not really a grab. I do a lot of public domain stuff. I do a Western reimagining of the Wizard of Oz called The Wicked West, which has been wildly popular for us. But here's the key to it. Here's why it's been popular, right? And this was something that I didn't really contemplate until I got deep into the Oz community. It's for comic book people that I'm like, oh, here's a Wizard of Oz and it's Western. They're like, oh, cool. That's steampunk and I want it. And that's awesome. But the Oz people want to know why you did it. They want to know where it comes from, right? They want to know, are you a fan of the books? Are you a fan of the original movie? Have you seen the interpretations? Have you seen what, like, they want to know why you're making this thing that is not what they understand. And some of them can get really intense, which I personally really like, because if I'm talking to somebody who really knows what the hell they're talking about and I can keep up with them because I'm like, oh yeah, let me show you what's in the book. Yeah. Let me show you what's in the book. You can watch their eyes start to go like, yo, this guy's real, man. And so what I found over the years was, as I kept doing the book, and I specifically, because I kept getting invited to this Oz event called Oz Extravaganza in New York, I would run into these purists of Oz. They're basically the book and the movie, and that's it, and nothing else. And why does your Dorothy have guns? Like what is going on? And they were very upset. But as I kept coming back again and again and again with more and more and more, I started to break them down. They were like, okay, you're here for like the 4th time. What is this? And then you talk to them about it. It's this, it's this, it's this. Everything I brought into my version, I brought from Baum, not the movies, not all that. It's Baum translated to my steampunk Western thing. Okay, but what about, yes, this, that, okay. And they'll buy the first one. And then invariably they'll come back the next day and be like, I get it. You're not kidding. You knew what you were talking about. I can feel Baum in what you're doing, even though it's a different machination. And
that's the huge difference right there, is being able to feel the original spirit and love for the character or IP or whatever it may be in the reimagining. Because the second is just hollow. It's
exactly. Like we talked about earlier, right? It's too easy to just put Dorothy in booty shorts and have her running around like, oh my God, like no one cares. No one cares.
But it will get funded on Kickstarter.
Yes, it will get funded, but it will go no further. So yeah, if you're going to do public domain, and there's tons of public domain, guys. I mean, Frankenstein and Dracula, some of the most overused, but you can still use it. You know,
Yeah.
Cthulhu, like Travis has done. There's so much public domain stuff that has either really deep storytelling that you can kind of draw from and turn it into something else, or it just has concepts that you can then just kind of pull. Like, okay, Cthulhu, it's this big indestructible beast. How do we, you know, do something with him? We've got all these other little demons. Let's play with the demons.
Yeah.
So public domain, this is what I tell people for public domain. And I think it's important for new creators, because a lot of new creators get hung up on the idea that they want to make their own thing, right? And yes, you do. We want you to make your own thing, but nobody knows what that thing is. So if you have your thing here and right next to it is a thing that people understand, Cthulhu, Oz, Frankenstein, whatever, they might come to your booth at a con and go, oh, Frankenstein. I like Frankenstein. What's that Frankenstein book? Oh, cool. Here, Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And I do my book over here. This is my original creation. You can parlay that into, oh, he's making a Frankenstein and he's making whatever the hell this is. You might get that other sale. And then, so you can attract attention through the public domain book, which can then just give attention to your entire.
Initially has a broader audience than whatever you're making on your own. So yeah.
Correct.
I have never lost money at a con now that I have Cthulhu Invades Oz. I just I make money just in that book alone because it's such a big draw. It's such a thing.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will state this, which is a bold statement. Tyler, how are you? I
Tom's gay.
Tom's gay.
Tyler never comes on these shows unless he agrees with me. So I feel good right now.
Right. I think the Cthulhu trend is dead. I think Cthulhu is done. I do think there's going to be some outliers. I don't think my Cthulhu series is going anywhere. I think it's still going to do fine. But I've seen Cthulhu used to be a quick 5 to 10, and it's just not anymore. You know, some of them are not breaking. Like, I think you have some comments on that, Tyler, sadly.
While Tyler goes away, I'll tell you this, Travis. I'm coming for that Cthulhu money.
Okay.
Cthulhu money.
Let's go.
Just to put that into the universe.
Yeah,
I'm coming for that Cthulhu
I am
money.
too, and your comment now scares me, but I am too.
No. Guys, Travis is, I think, like the last, because I think Pat Shan's with his, like even Pat Shan's Cthulhu ones, they only do maybe in the 20K. So like, and Travis's does in the 30. So, and guys, like I'm hot shit, and I did barely 4K.
You're a big deal, right? Joey, do you want to say goodbye real quick?
Yeah, I gotta dip out really quick, guys. I just gotta get out. Appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me. It's been amazing. Appreciate everything. Sorry, I'm feeling gross.
Oh, wait, we get it.
COVID.
Yeah.
All right, but thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. It's been awesome. I'm going to go follow you guys. Follow you guys on Kickstarter. See you guys later.
All right, cool.
It's because
but Tyler, let me just throw this real quick. Isn't 20 grand good?
20 grand's great.
Okay.
No, 20, no.
Isn't 4 grand good? I mean, I'm over here.
No, 20 grand's great. What I'm saying is like, but I saw some other Cthulhu projects because I tried to message the other comic people who were also doing Cthulhu projects the same time as I was, and they were all under 5K. And I was kind of like, yo, like let's do some boosts and whatnot. And they were like, oh, I'm not very interested. And one of the people I was talking to, they go, I don't want to promote because this is my last time doing Cthulhu because this is my lowest one ever. It was like,
lowest Cthulhu book or lowest overall of everything?
Lowest Cthulhu book overall. I'm not saying that no one can do it and not kill it. I mean, Travis has talked with me about my thing was like almost like was one, not the genre that my backers are used to. It's not something that I normally make. And it was very confusing in terms of concept. Like Travis and I have broken it down. There are many reasons why it didn't do as well.
I'm going to give you 3 words, Tyler. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Super Cthulhu Sisters.
My Sexy Cthulhu
Academia.
Academia.
That's right.
There we go.
My Sexy Miskatonic Academia. Holy crap! You see?
There we go.
We've got it. It's done. It's done.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
I think Cthulhu, and I don't think it's the comics that killed it. I think it's the gaming. I mean, gaming it's non. There's just so much content. There's so many. How many times can you play the same game, right?
And to be fair, it's not the most
crazy.
high quality content either, like some of the games. So it's like that might have not helped.
Yeah, so I think Cthulhu is kind of run a course. However, that being said, I just saw somebody just announced that they're doing a Call of Cthulhu movie. Hold on. There's a big deal.
I loved Underwater. Did anyone see Underwater?
Nobody saw Underwater.
James
loved
Wang.
Underwater. I highly recommend it.
James Wang, if you don't know him, he's done Aquaman, a couple of things. He did Saw. He wants to do Call of Cthulhu. He wants to do the Call of Cthulhu, and that's the name of it. He wants to do that book.
That'd be great if done well.
I mean, it would help me, so I'm all for it.
Me too.
The Cthulhu fan base also, like the Cthulhu fan base as well, like they
knew.
Well, they suck. No, like the biggest problem I had when I was like, let me do a noir story because that's what I like. And then I was like, okay, this is not going to do well. So let me add Cthulhu in. So I'm already a fake. And then as I'm getting into the lore of Cthulhu, and as you read it, I'm like, okay, so it's written like it's real, but it's not. So I'm super confused the whole time because they're like, as author so-and-so has reported on Cthulhu. I'm like, okay, like look up who this author is. Oh, so he's fake. Everything's fake, but everyone's talking about like it's real. So I'm so confused. And then I was posting in a Cthulhu group and they're like, I don't like the premise of your story because it's about Cthulhu's family getting murdered. And he's like, he doesn't have a family. And I was like, he does. Like I looked it up on the lore. And then I started this huge argument and someone was like, marriage is a little too low for the cosmic and the cosmic gods of the blah blah. And I was like, this is not real, right?
Fake, right?
This is fake. But like, it was one of the kind of like tying us all into the discussion of like, when you get into public domain and whatnot, you are dealing with these fan bases who, like, if you don't understand them, like I did, like they spotted me a mile away. They're like, this guy's a fake. And he thinks that Cthulhu's fake, but we know it's real. So they spotted me a mile away.
You and I, Tyler, I know the shit. You want to talk about the old gods of the new or the Solgos or you want to go deep? Let's go.
Here's the thing though. I put so much like Cthulhu like lore into my like thing. Like someone was like, what's his wife? I'm like, oh, you mean Ija? And they're like, oh, okay. And like, that's the only thing I could remember.
There's an amazing movie. I think it's on Amazon, guys. It's called Call Girl of Cthulhu. That's all I'm saying. You do with that information what you want.
Yeah.
I mean, it would do well on Kickstarter.
Yeah, it would do great on Kickstarter. Big numbers.
So how long have you been listening to Tyler? What do you get?
Oh, I was actually just on Larry's show, and then your best friend, and then my kid started crying, so I went to go, and then I went to go back on his show, but they were talking about a topic that I didn't want to talk about, so then I came on here. So no disrespect, Larry, no disrespect. I don't know anything about CGC, and everyone's like $350. I'm like, okay.
I taught you the term CGC.
Yeah. Travis was like, yeah, we can get our book CGC, and I'm like, I remember the message because I was like, what is that? And Travis's reply was, I hate you. I don't know.
Because Tyler can tell you so many things about.
I love how you're almost like completely removed from comics, but you're like making comics, and you're just like, there's so many things that you're just like
fascinating
right over your head. It's crazy. It's crazy. And yet you have so much like great knowledge about at least the marketing side of things. So you're like marketing this product that you don't know anything about. It's like hysterical.
Nothing.
It's amazing. No, it's imposter syndrome is what we're witnessing right now.
Yeah, people are like, Travis is like, yeah, we get our CGC and get graded. I'm like, Cool.
You can't grade
Whatever
manga.
that is.
You cannot grade manga, guys.
Yeah.
Well, if you grade the right size, I mean, you could.
They're too thick for the holder. You can't do it.
Well, you can't do a full size, sure.
Yeah.
Manga
They're
Z,
only
his
full
Manga Z's fine.
That's true. I could CGC my Manga Z. I could CGC my Manga Z.
Yeah, your 200
Yeah.
book.
There you go.
200
You know, you
page
got it.
Bible.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
I was watching Larry stream a little bit, and it made me laugh because they had 3 people on it talking about Invincible and a very important Invincible scene. And everyone's like, "Do you know what's happening in this scene?" And none of them have read the comic enough, but they're all telling each other that they know more about comics than the other one. And I was screaming.
I would have squashed them all.
And I love that's what I love about Tyler, because Tyler would be like, "You want to talk about Scott Snyder? We fucking talk about his Batman run," and then he'll talk about a few other things, and then he's out.
Yeah, there's like when someone's like, "What's your comic book knowledge?" It goes, "Okay, so I got in at the New 52, and then I worked my way back."
Fake, super hyper fake. Like
I worked my way backwards on only Batman, and then everything else forward was just all Wikipedia, just so I could be in conversations. So I'd be like, "Oh, like I remember the first time learning that I was reading a Grant Morrison JLA." And they were looking at the Flash and like, "Don't worry, Barry would have been proud." I'm like, "Wait, I thought you're not Barry. Who's this guy?" Like the whole graphic novel I'm reading, and they're like, "Don't worry, Barry would be proud at the end." I'm like, "Wait, who's this?" Only to find out. Then I have to go on Wikipedia. I'm like, "Oh, so Barry died like forever ago." And then I'm reading Final Crisis. I'm like, "Wait, that's Barry. Okay. What is going on? Who are all these characters?"
I mean, to be fair, I've shared with you my favorite manga is Death Notes. I've read the whole wiki. It sounds fantastic. I don't want to read, bad dialogue for 50 volumes, but that wiki sounds really good.
That's funny. Yeah, so like it's funny because like my comic stuff, like I've read all of Walking Dead, all of Saga.
Sure.
Yeah, like I love all the Image stuff. And I liked Batman. There was just some superhero stuff. I was like, oh, and I've actually read a ton of like the Bendis Avengers, like the bigger events.
So this is a good question. Has a crowdfunded kind of gotten a TV series? A lot of them have been optioned, but I don't know if any of them's been made.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that either.
Not that I know.
There's tons of options out there, but and there's too many platforms. I mean, it could be anywhere. Mm-hmm. It could literally be anywhere. I mean, there's movies that are based on comics that people don't know they're based on comics. Like Surrogates, the Bruce Willis movie was based on a comic book. So there's tons of comic book stuff out there that you would have never known.
Dude, that movie Extraction with Chris Hemsworth was based off of a comic. I read it. I was like, oh yeah, the movie was way better, but it was based off of a. It was based off of a comic. It's crazy, like in the manga anime space where it was talking about like, oh, and then you do the manga and then it becomes the anime and there's like the synergy. And I think about like Brian K. Vaughan, and he sold his entire I think he sold the rights to Lionsgate and he walked out for like 9 figures, I think. Like that was what they gave him. And I think it's shocking that we still don't like have anything like out from Brian K. Vaughan and like in the media. And yeah, he's
I think his stuff doesn't translate.
Why The Last Man came out and it crashed spectacularly.
That was horrible.
Paper Girls came out, crashed spectacularly. I don't
wait, Paper Girls got adapted?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Yep.
And it died on the vine too.
I wonder though if the problem is it's because they're getting adapted into live action.
Maybe. Well, I mean, I think Why the Last Man was it took too long. Like Why the Last Man, like he doesn't really he addressed transgender issues like from a 2000s version of transgender versus now. Like it's a different story. Like the problems that the things that they're discussing of what a female and man, like those definitions were clear, a lot clearer than they are now. And I think that affects the material.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, but like,
I'd love to see a Pride of Baghdad adaptation. I think that would be amazing.
Pride of Baghdad is so good.
That would be a good one. But even like stuff like Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips, like all of their stuff has been optioned. Like Killer Be Killed, Criminal. Like I think Killer Be Killed would be a great series. I mean, the only thing that'd be weird is like some of the supernatural elements because he sees like the devil. And then that would be, I don't know, boost up the comic sales. I don't know. But I am shocked at the lack of adaptations.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things. The first is like, remember Lock and Key, right? Lock and Key got picked up. They filmed a pilot and they just threw it away. They were like, "Nah, never mind, we're out of here." And then Netflix got it. They did it again. Yeah, that was the second. That was the second time around.
Oh,
yeah.
They kept one kid.
Yeah, and then but tons of stuff gets optioned, and a lot of that option is just to keep it out of the hands of some other studio.
Yeah,
like we'll give you $50,000, just don't sell it to anybody else, and if we ever get to it, we'll get to it. So that kind of stuff happens. And then when we were selling our stuff to Hollywood, I had a guy trying to sell The Legend of Oz to Hollywood, and we almost had it picked up as a TV show, but as we went up the ladders, we kind of got to the top where they had to make the final decisions. And we had two guys at this particular studio. And one guy, basically, his thought process was, Westerns don't sell. And I'm like, do you know the history of Hollywood? Like, do you understand that Hollywood is, everything is a Western, dude. But Westerns don't sell. The other guy, literally, he was Tyler. Right over his head. Did not understand anything. And I'm like, dude, I have storyboards for you right here. Let me show you the book.
Right.
Storyboarded for you. It's ready to go. If you don't, if you literally don't understand this, we are in the wrong place. And that's what the guy that was helping me was. He was like, look, we're going to find a lot of ladders like this, and we're going to get to those guys, and they're going to lose interest. They're going to have something else flash, squirrel, and it's just a matter of finding the right ladder at the right time, and you at least get an option, which we never got. But yeah,
I listened to Bill Willingham Fables when he made it all public domain.
Yeah,
he talked about a similar story, and when he got to the top of the ladder, they looked at the material and was like, I can make this
on my own
and just cut you out of it. And like, he's like, then why the fuck am I here? Like, you paid me all this money to like do this and develop. He's like, yeah, but the more we think about it, like, your name's not that great. Fables isn't. Yeah.
I'll tell you this. There was
and that became Once Upon a Time. That's the ABC. Once Upon a Time was Fables.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Wow.
Went all the way to the top, and he was like, "We don't need you for this."
Well, but kind of so like when I was working at this publisher for like the last 5 years, I remember we would get submissions for like the worst submissions to get are children's books, because you read them and you go, I have to pay an illustrator to draw this, and then I have to pay the writer royalties. And for most of these writers, they spent like an hour just doing some rhymes. And so it was so shitty, but we would go, okay, who can make a better version of this? And my boss would be like, they'd be like, okay, the story's about a girl and she has a lollipop sweet. Who here can make a better version? And I'll give you $100. Like in the dead ass. So we'll just like not use a submission, and then here's $100. You make your own version. You're only gonna ever get $100. We're gonna make a fake name, but then we never have to pay royalties for the book, because there were just so many submissions where it was just like, we could do this by ourselves, which so shitty. I know, but like when I'm in, like as a creator, I'm like, that's disgusting. But when I'm in my business mode, I'm like, yeah, like let's fuck over those people. Like,
wow,
it's just
what a
disgusting to hear. And I got my business Tyler, and then I got my creator Tyler. My creator Tyler is a little more empathetic, but my business Tyler is like, listen, this is just good business. I'm not bad guy in Pirates of the Caribbean.
You guys act like you don't follow him on Twitter. I mean, this is Twitter, Tyler. Like, I love you guys. Hey, by the way, fuck off. Read my next comment.
Dude, I'll tell you this. It's so hard, like with Twitter, because like on a one-on-one, I'll be very empathetic, but on a one-on-one, but like on like when I'm on like talking to like thousands of people, I feel like I have to be like Rick Grimes and be like, listen, we can't kill Negan, because if we kill Negan, it'll ruin everything. Even though like deep down I want to kill me again. But like I'm trying to make the best. I'm trying to sound like good for everything, but deep down, on an individual level, I'm different.
It's good.
You guys talked about some good things on this stream. I agreed like 90% with Tom and like 10% with everyone else.
I'll take 10.
Oh, you didn't get the 10. It was like other people.
Oh, okay.
You clearly
I'm
didn't
just
look it
happy
up.
to be here, man.
I was brilliant all night. We made some predictions for. What's your prediction for 2024 in comics? We'd love to hear that. We didn't hear that. What's your prediction as a whole? You can encompass direct market. You can encompass not. What's your prediction for 2024?
I think for indies, I think the ones who are doing well now will continue to do well, and I think the ones who didn't figure it out last year are gonna quit it. So I think the people who have been around for the last 5 years, if they figured it out by now, they're gonna keep going. And if they haven't figured it out by now, they're dropping this year, and there's going to be a new crop of like first years, kind of like, in Hogwarts. We're gonna have our new first years. Look, we got Ben Fox. Yeah, so you guys, you're gonna have your first years, and then we're gonna see like, okay, out of this next 5-year stretch, which one of these people are who's coming and who's going. And I think because we get this cycle every couple years, that's why the same conversations happen.
Right.
Of like the creator, it's because they all go through the same mindset, and the winners win, and then the losers keep going on these topics that then like cycle through. So I think that's what we're going to see more of. But I think we're going to see more like people that like you, me, Travis. I think like we're going to see people that we've known for like a long time, and they're just going to make a Facebook post saying, I'm done. I think we're going to see.
I've already seen it. I know people that have been doing this for a while, and they're just burned out. They're just like, I can't keep up. Even the slower pace that they do, I can't keep up with this. I can't do the back end. I can't do the shipping all the time. I can't. So they might aim to like finish their story, like however many issues, but then once they're at the end of the story, they're just going to walk away.
Oh, gee. So like once they're finished, like once they hit that final issue, it's
yeah. Again, it's that vanity project thing, right? It's like, hey, I did it. I showed that I could do it. We're wrapped up. We're finished. Kaput. We told our story. I got nothing else to do, so I'm going to be out. I've already seen a lot of that already.
Dang. Yeah, so that's my prediction. I think the people who are doing well, they're going to just keep going. They're going to keep pouring. I think we're going to start seeing more people. You know who's really popular right now in the CG and Eric July conversations? It's Pat Shand.
Mm-hmm.
Eric EV, like your boy Zach did a video. Eric July did a video, and they used Pat Shand's. They used Pat Shand's video, tweet. They didn't say Pat Shand. They didn't show his URL. The only reason why I knew it was because I knew how many Kickstarters Pat Shand had done, and then he described the creator as a short hobbit. They're like this short hobbit creator put out more books than me this year, and I'm like, oh, that's Pat Shand.
And it bugs me that they wouldn't just say his name. That really bugs me. I'm like,
it's just like
how
give him the credit.
Are you afraid to like give this guy a little bit of press? Like, come on.
Yeah.
And incidentally, the tweet said roughly, hey, I put out more campaigns than ever this year. The most I had done was 6. This year we did 16, and we funded or we fulfilled 14, and we made $1 million. That was the gist of the post.
Right.
And they didn't say so. I think we're going to start seeing more creators try to do that model of doing a campaign a month, maybe 2. And I think what's going to happen is I think because of that new model, we're going to see people burn out even faster because they don't have the infrastructure or plans. Like they don't know how to do it. Because like Pat's got employees, So like Pat has to write, and then he tells his 4 like employees, ship the books, do blah, blah. And most of these creators, if they're doing that, they're basically like every day they're either writing or they're shipping, and at some point they're going to burn out because they don't have that infrastructure. But they're going to think so. And I've experienced this. Luckily, I'm finally out of the hole. But I was telling Travis privately last year, but luckily I've officially gotten myself out of the hole, where there was a moment where I was like, in terms of payments, 2 books behind in terms of payments. And I can see, luckily I've with my Bullet Assassin, everything's paid off. Every book now has been paid off and like printing, shipping, like it's all ready to go. But I can see creators who are not financially prepared for that do like a book a month, and then they go, oh shit, I'm now having to pay for book 5 using the funds of book like 8, and they're just in this constant catch up, and it's gonna, once it finally catches up to them, they go, great, the only way I can pay for book 4 is I have to do my 10th Kickstarter, so that I'm always. And I think that at that point, that's what's going to screw up some creators who attempt that Pat Shan model.
Yeah, I mean, we see it with Marcel. You know, he had the same model, but he couldn't keep up. You know, it was always
no, exactly. When I started doing it, that was the first thing that you messaged me, Travis. You were like, "Hey, I know you're going to do this. Don't end up like Marcel." And like last month, before I did Bullet Assassin, I was like, I'm like Marcel, I'm like Marcel, I'm like Marcel. And then I did Bullet Assassin because it was successful. I'm like, I'm not Marcel anymore. Thank God, thank God, thank God.
Right. And I won't call it luck, because you do a Moneyball method, right? They just need to get on base. I know what they're going to do. And if one of them overachieves, we're great. But as long as they get on base, meaning they produce this amount, we're going to be able to keep this going.
Yes.
Love that. Exactly. I love that. Oh my God. Everyone watch Moneyball.
Dude, I deleted
Moneyball. That's what Pat Shan does. Pat Shan's method right now is Moneyball. These are guaranteed this amount. I'm only going to do this because I'm only going to play it safe to make sure it says it. And there's zero wrong with that. But it's Moneyball. These aren't the most revolutionary ideas. And I know Pat Shan is capable of those, Destiny New York and some of the other stuff that he's done prior to this. But right now, he's trying to build a new platform, and it's all Moneyball.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not just that. I actually tweeted today because I watched Moneyball today.
I did too. What the hell is going on right now,
dude? I legit tweeted about Moneyball on like here's my phone. Like I legit tweeted this picture out on Twitter saying, I just got done watching Moneyball, and if you watch it through the lens of indie comics, it'll like change how you do your business. And then someone was like, baseball, blah, blah. And I had this new 2024 rule of just like not doing any drama. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to fight this person because they called me an idiot. So I just deleted the tweet so I didn't have to like fight them.
Okay, I'll tweet it. I'll tweet it tomorrow, Tyler.
And I'll retweet. I'm like, Tom's on to something.
We'll just keep going.
But if you like going with what Travis said with the Moneyball thing, like it's just about getting onto base, like getting onto base. But then something that Brad Pitt's character says in that meeting with all the scouts, he's like, if we play like the Yankees in there, we will lose out there. And it made me just think of like how many creators are trying to play like Marvel or DC, like in their own home front. And then when they go onto Kickstarter, they're losing. When they're going onto the indie scene, they're losing because you can't play the same game as these other people. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm trying to do all of these things because someone else is doing it, but that's their game. It's not my game. Moneyball. And get on base.
Even if you don't like baseball, you got to watch it and skip through the baseball parts, but listen to what he and Jonah Hill. Listen to what those guys talk about all the time. Yeah,
it's funny. Like, Chuck said this to me a few years ago. He watched Moneyball. He's like, "That's what you need to do for comics." And I was like, "That's what every Kickstarter is. That's what every Kickstarter should be."
Is getting on. Well, when I worked at that publisher, like my boss, I had a boss, and she would be like, I didn't really equate it until like just now, but my boss would always be like, "We need a home run with one of our books," because we need to make like for my accounts, let's just say I need to make 50,000 a month in terms of books. She's like, we need that. What's that one book that's going to get 50? And my manager, who's basically like my partner in crime, he would always be like, we're not going to get a home run. We are a small publisher. None of our books are just going to get 50,000 unless it's like an influence or something that we trick into publishing with us. Okay. He's like, my goal every day is to get onto first base and then second and third. He goes, so if I find a book and it does 5,000 that day, great. And if I find another book the next day and it does $3,000, that's great. And if I can just keep getting on base, by the end of the month, I'll hit 50,000. But if I put in all my eggs for the next 30 days trying to find that one book that's going to hit 50,000, I'm going to lose 29 days of research when I could have every single day gone to base. And it's kind of the same thing with your selling. If creators were to go, okay, how do I sell just $250 of my book every single day? By the end of the year, you've made $100,000. If you would just go, how do I make $250 a day? And so that's kind of like that's something I've been trying to figure out this year is, okay, how can I do these baby steps? Tom's doing the math on my 250.
Well, no, I see. It's funny because I played Moneyball with my artists, right? There was a lot of times that I was using all of these high-end guys that, you know, I knew would do well, but they also came with really high budgets. So I'm literally playing Moneyball. I'm like, I can do 2 covers for the cost of that one dude. The question is, can I do those 2 covers and have sales, you know, equal to what that guy does all by himself? And so that's what we've been doing for the past few years. It doesn't mean we don't use some big names, but only in key moments, key points. There are designated hitters when we need them, right? But everybody else, it's like instead of spending $1,000 on an artist, I'm spending $400 on an artist, and our budgets come wildly down. And so far, the result has been all of our fans are like, yo, look at all the new guys that Tom has found. And they love the new artists that we're doing. So while we're not hitting home runs every time we do this, we are absolutely getting on base with everybody that we use. And that's the foundation that we're building to kind of keep moving forward.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that's the secret, right? For covers, that's the secret, is finding that indie guy who shares it more than the exposure you'd get from that pro, right?
Yeah.
He's going to share it out and get more exposure to the book, even if it doesn't go to his cover,
right?
Because he'll bring in more long term.
Yeah.
Well, I also think it's about, and Pat Shan says this a lot. He's like, you need to have an eye for art. And I think it's like also, how can you use your talent and maybe, I hate the word like train, but like there's artists that I used for like my works. And I remember a writer thought he'd be smart and be like, oh, I figured out what your artist's name was and I'm going to use them. And I'm like, have fun. Like he goes, wow, like you're not going to get the same results with them that I do. And they messaged me back months later and they were like, yo, the cover that this person sent me sucked, but like, how come you were able to get a good cover out of them? I was like, I drew it. I was like, I was the one that drew it. I was the one that said, hey, I want it to look like this. So you can, if you ask an artist, hey, I want a cover, he's going to give you a cover, but I'm orchestrating
art direction.
I'm giving them art direction.
Yeah. I harp on that all the time. Art direction is so lacking in some of these comics, especially the NSFW stuff, because it's all just the same. Oh, look at my butt. Like it's literally just all.
It's the same pose. It's just the girl in the middle.
Yeah. It's so soft, and I mean, there's a selling point to that. I'm not ragging on anybody. It sells because it's cheesecake, and cheesecake is a style, and people like it.
Yeah.
But you know, when that's everything, when you are one of 10 books that are all the same NSFW stuff, and your books look like everybody else's book, then what is your brand? You no longer have a brand anymore. You're just this whitewashed, hey, look at all the butts. So if you can, even as an NSFW thing, even if you can art direct to have some different camera angles, different perspectives, different locations, different something to modify your butt cover against the other 100 that are out there, you'll start to stand out with your NSFW book. But there's so much of it that is just, I see it and I'm like, isn't that all the same stuff?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's that guy and that's that guy, but it all just kind of blurs together for me. So art direction is, whether it's NSFW or not, art direction is monumental in creating your brand, your style, and setting yourself apart as best you can from everybody else.
Yeah.
What I also think another trend is, I think we're going to see more AI. I think we're going to see more AI.
No question. There's too many success stories already with it. Like large success stories with it too.
Yeah, I mean, the only people you don't sell AI to is other creators who hate
creators.
AI.
Yeah.
The
average person's going to love it. Yeah.
The only problem is, though, I wonder, like, be honest. Be as honest as you guys want. If you guys want to, on my Super Plumber Sisters, you see cover G is AI. Do you think that hurts the brand, or do you think people just go, "Oh, Tyler did an AI cover, fuck that guy," but I lose 10 backers?
Yeah, I've had this conversation before. I think there's one of two possibilities. The first is people will be like, "Well, I like Tyler and I like Super Plumber Sisters, so I'm just going to buy the one I want, and it's not the AI."
Yeah.
And they'll just be like, "That's it. That's fine. I'm just not going to do it." The other is, I'm going to boycott Tyler because he has an AI cover, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then there's going to be people that are like, yo, I don't know what this is, but it looks hot and I want it. So as long as this is the Marvel thing, right? If one leaves and you have one to come in, you're in the same place.
Yeah.
So no one is really going to know until the experiment happens. Somebody has to be the sacrificial lamb for this.
Yeah.
But I have a sense that I don't think you will lose, particularly if it's a creator that has a following. Like, Tyler and Travis and I, we've been doing this a while. We have a following. I don't think that if any of us dropped an AI cover in there, just one, that our fans would just have a mass exodus.
Well, Tom, it's a new year. Let's have you be the guinea pig. Like that sounds great. I'm looking at like the heart sews. I'll just call them out, like the heart sews. Yeah. Like they have like 3 different accounts, and every month they've got a new AI thing. And each of those are racking in 30K. So if they're doing like 3 a month on each of their accounts, I mean, they're pulling in 100K on AI.
Free covers, basically.
And I love that they're like, oh no, like we work with like top Photoshop engines. I'm like, no, you didn't. I see the blemish.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna see more AI.
Did you see the news they just announced who they were pulling from?
Yeah. What a weird list too. Like there's glaring errors, not errors. There's glaring misses. Like there's no Jim Lee in there. There's no Todd McFarlane in there. Like there's like what? There's all these people. I don't even know who the hell they are, but there's like these weird missing pieces.
Well, as someone who worked at an AI company for a hot second, it's due to how the computer can model it. So like some of the stuff. So like.
But if somebody were to come in, and I don't know how this works, so I'm going to come at this from an ignorant standpoint. Mm-hmm. If I were to come into an AI thing and say, I want a Wonder Woman drawn in the style of Todd McFarlane, whatever, right? Wouldn't it then go find Todd McFarlane and scrape it to turn it into what I want?
Oh no, it has to be taught. So the model has to be taught unless that engine has, and most of them don't, has real time, but like most of them don't. The problem with like the reason why it's hard to do a Todd McFarlane and stuff is because of the ink. That's the reason why it's hard for the comic covers is the inks, because we do pencils and inks and colors. The reason why they can do an art germ is because it's painted.
It's painted, yeah. Okay.
It's painted. Whereas when the AI has to know that it has to outline everything in black.
Mm-hmm.
And then color over it. So that's why the painterly style was so easy because it could just meld all the colors in, which sucks for all those artists, because like those are the most expensive artists to commission, were the painters, but it was the easiest for the AI to replicate. Whereas the line art was very difficult. Even some of the AI to do line art manga stuff, it still does like gray tone, like shading. It can't do fully the line art on some of them because it's too hard. So that's why seeing like a Jim Lee or even most comic book people, it can be very difficult because of how we create comics.
But that's for now.
That's for now. You're right. See, I am working on an AI.
You'd be like, this is all AI, but it's all me. I put only me, and I taught it, so I no longer have to draw comics.
Basically, and they'd be like, wow, like you can teach the AI how to do hands. I'm like, I don't know how to do hands, so just hold for me. I think we're gonna see some more AI art though. I mean, it's getting real good. It's getting like I subscribe to a couple of them, and I just to like see what they're doing, and like they're like, we just got this update, and I'm like, holy crap! And the thing is, you can always tell if it's AI, so you're like, that's AI. But some of them are getting pretty close.
Well, and anyone worth their salt with Photoshop can go in and fix all the problems.
Yeah.
To the point where there are no problems.
I was gonna be a guinea pig on my Bullet Assassin Kickstarter because I did an AI cover, and then I like the hands were all like that. So like I like went in Photoshop and I like repainted them and like photoshopped some guns and did some effects. So I was like, oh, like I just did it, and it just didn't feel right, so I didn't do it. But you're right. It could have been easy as just that.
Yeah.
Or I had someone trace over it.
Yeah.
And then we had it colored, and I was like, this looks perfect. And I'm like, but I was like, they're like, can I put my name on it? I'm like, people would know that you can't draw like that. And if I did it, people would know that I can't draw like that.
Yeah.
So none of us can put our name on it because they would go, that's Tyler. I've seen Tyler's art.
He's gotten real good, man.
He got real good.
This is a new guy that I found that doesn't have any social media at all.
He draws like that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, and I've seen people who have been putting in their own art, like roughs, into AI engines, and then letting the AI sort of flesh it all out. And then they're coming out going, oh yeah, this is like a real thing. We're like, no, motherfucker, we can see still, even with you putting your initial concept into it, we can see all of the screw up
and the inconsistencies. Like, oh, she changed her jacket 5 times in this page.
We can, let's just put it this way, guys. We can all still see it. So be careful. We can all still see it.
I think another thing for indie comics is I think there's going to be some creators who find better ways to do indie comics without crowdfunding or having to be in the quote unquote community. For example, I follow a creator, and he's like, he for like last year, he kept talking about drop shipping and like online stores. And he's like, Tyler, I'm going to freaking figure out how to do all this like digital marketing ads. I went like, good luck. And he sent me a screenshot today. He goes, dude, I sold 3,000 copies of my book last month on my online store. And I was like, whoa. And then I was like, show me your like year to date. He'd done like $200,000 just on his like three books. And I was like, how'd you do that? And obviously that's kind of jacked up to say because he put in all the work, but in essence it was like online store, TikTok ads, Facebook ads, and like using AI to like automate like the marketing aspects. But I was like, oh, that's really cool. That's cool that you figured it out, and I'm curious how many other creators will start going. Like for example, I think there's a lot of Kickstarter books that aren't NSFW or like porn books that are super, super good, and they're just not getting the spotlight on Kickstarter due to the platform of being like it's very popular, female centric, and SFW stuff. Anyone who says it's not is lying. So I think like for those creators, like this guy, like his book is just about it's a fantasy. And like he's like, Tyler, I put it up on Indiegogo, I'm making no money. I put it up on Kickstarter, I'm making no money. I do my own advertising, and I made $300,000 this year. So I think that's the kind of the alternative for creators who might not be seeing the success that they want on Kickstarter is going to be finding that success off platform.
Yeah, my partner and I actually had a very similar conversation about exploring that for that very reason.
I love John, by the way. Last Wand is like my top 10 best comics I've read.
Great. Yeah. He's doing great work, and I'm glad he's with me.
And he's ripped.
Yeah, I'm not super happy about that because I have to sit in a room with him every day. But other than that, nice.
He like got super ripped this last year.
Yeah, he did.
Is that why the box is bent?
Yeah. Douchebag over here with fat head and fat muscles. Anyway, we love you, John.
That's so funny.
You can't pick him up. He's just like, oh.
Yeah. He's jacked though, and it came out of
all
nowhere.
comics are slightly damaged. He just can't help it. He's just not capable.
Yeah.
That's just your brand. Is everything has a dinged corner?
They've all been personally bent by John.
That's right.
That's
the
brand.
That's some content. You could be like, it's my favorite part
that's
about
on
this
TikTok, man. Wait. I mean, it's going to be now that we talk about it. Yeah.
Do it seriously. It's just like what I love about Spider-Man. Hold on.
I got these right here. They just need bending. So
there we go.
Good. We'll get there.
Yeah, I think next year. I do think Kickstarter is going to be rough. Like I said, I think there's going to be a lot of. I don't think it's going to last forever, but I think that we've got another 6 months of sexy books, heavy sexy books.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm not sure why they haven't jumped on January 1st. Like, I'm very confused by that. So
I am too. And I've had this discussion with other people too. I'm like, you all know that there's like no campaigns in January, right?
Oh,
yeah.
And the people that are there in January, I'm there every year, by the way. We do wildly well in January, and it's partially because there's nobody there, and you can be the big fish in the little pond. So go ahead, guys.
Tom, when you launch
January?
Yeah.
When you launching it?
Saturday.
When you launching?
Saturday is critical.
Saturday?
Yeah.
Oh, congrats. I'm launching in January. I'm launching the week after.
So I'll be on your show on Monday.
There we go.
Beautiful.
Maybe.
See how it works? Just like that.
But yeah, I think wait, Colin Travis, so you think that there's like 6 months left of NSFW books?
I think of heavy NSFW books.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll. I think they're all gonna kill each other. Right? When there's too much to buy, there's only so much things, and they're going to kill each other.
Well,
the numbers are going to go lower.
That's another thing is you're having a lot of people converse, and they're like, we're always having these discussions. When's the best time to launch? Blah blah. And like for all indie creators listening to it, it's like if you can build up an audience, it doesn't matter when you
zero matters.
That's right.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Even I saw that this year with November and December. I was like, this is wild, man. It does not matter as long as you can control and command your audience and let them know that you're happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only thing that it hurts and that I've noticed is if you launch like I launched in October, I don't think the algorithms helped me as much. It was more my driving.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, but it wasn't the whole thing, that was just one aspect. And if I'm relying on the algorithm, I'm not really doing what I need to be doing anyways.
Yeah,
like the algorithm's your bonus, right? That's your foot traffic at a store, right? You need to do your advertising to let people know the store exists. Foot traffic just naturally happens. You can't rely on it. In fact, we talk about comic stores on the regular. The comic stores that are struggling are the ones that relied on foot traffic. They relied on it. In COVID, they started shipping. People are like, I don't really want to go to my comic store. So they stopped going, and they're still ordering their books, but they're not seeing new stuff on the shelf because they're not doing the foot traffic anymore.
Dude, I was talking to my comic book store like 3 years ago, and I was just like, how do you guys get foot traffic? You guys are in the butt fuck of like the city. It is a pain in the ass for me to get here. And they were like, oh, like this was just like where the best rent was. And I was like, okay, well, it sucks. I was like, would you guys ever go in the mall? Because I saw there was like 5 like empty slots, and they're like, ugh, no, the mall's gross. I'm like, well, I mean, but it's the mall. Like, there's people there, and they're like, oh no. They're like, yeah, no, like the mall's gross. There's a comic book store that popped up there a couple months ago, and it's like super nice. And dude, I was walking there. Like trying to do my Christmas shopping. I'll do that. That store was just packed to the brim of just people buying collectibles and books. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. Took a picture. I drove to my comic book store, which is now like been possessed by half a Mexican restaurant. And I walked in, there's no one there. Like it's like the holidays. There's just 0 people there. And yeah, I agree with I like your analogy. The algorithm is the foot traffic. Because yeah, like November and December, the algorithm did nothing for my like it says like these are your referrals. Like Kickstarter was like my like 6th. Everything else above it was my own. But Super Plumber Sisters Kickstarter was my top 2, and then that was during the summer.
Yeah, and sometimes your foot traffic's going to be better, sometimes bad. And I don't even think it's predictable. I think it's based on how many's on the platform. I think the algorithm is really, really good in Kickstarter. I think it's really, really smart to know Critter needs to be marketed. We talked to Joey here. Joey does a lot of Kickstarters. He's never heard of Tom Hutchinson. He doesn't do those kind of books. But I bet you if you back Niobe, you're going to see Critter. You're going to see those. It's smart enough to know like-minded. So again, this is where we talk about the non-safe for work. Why I feel it's a problem is there's so many of that stuff. All the algorithm's doing is just sharing all that in that stuff.
I think it'll hurt I think it will hurt the new creators who are trying to jump in on the trend, because the people who have already been doing it, they already have a fan base to command.
Right.
Yeah.
But the new person's gonna get like Ian Alive. Yeah. So I just put tits on the book. That's all I gotta do.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
That's
as simple as that. Super Cthulhu Sisters.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, the amount. Well, another trend I think is, besides NSFW covers, I think we're going to see more like legit erotica porn books, because the amount of people that have messaged me like, "Yo, so do the sisters ever like have sex?" And I'm like, "No, you degenerate." I was like, "No, you degenerate." Like
there is, but that's already
there. Sisters,
there's a decent amount there already.
There's already like legitimate that stuff.
But I'm getting mad. Like my bullet assassin, someone's like, does she get like F by the goblin? I'm like, no, go away. Like I think there is this precedent now where like NSFW on Kickstarter used to be, you had like a nude cover like at most, and now NSFW is like, dude, are they banging in the book?
Yeah.
Because if they're not banging, like I know I'll go to a different book where they're banging. Because I live in Utah and all the porn sites are banned.
So you got to have a specific stretch goal for the banging version of the book.
Yeah,
like everybody else gets the regular version, but if you want the banging version,
Tom, I did that with my Sexy Witch book. I had the DLC. I said, here's the book. It's 40 pages, but if you want to see the sex scene, it's an extra $8, and it's 6 pages. And I was shocked that 90% of physical backers bought that. I was like, guys,
really shocked.
Well, and I don't even think I will argue that it's probably not even sex. Like, I'd be mad that I don't have the full content. Like, even if I was buying it, even if I wasn't, like, I'm gonna say that there was a percentage of that was just like, motherfucker, there's extra stuff.
Yeah,
like, I buy DLC for games that I don't even care about. I'm like,
exactly.
The fact that you didn't let me get that character, like Mortal Kombat, I don't give a shit about non-Mortal Kombat characters, but I'll fucking buy them all because I don't want somebody else to have something I don't have.
You don't want to be playing the game and there's just that question mark there forever, and you're like,
I can't stand it. It drives me fucking crazy.
Yeah,
I'll give you $7 to remove that question mark.
I've actually didn't think about that. Because I remember putting the description like, this is not going to affect the plot. You're just going to see the two characters the plot says that they like each other. Now you just get to see them do the deed.
You know what you could do to I don't know, trump that, I guess, would be have that as instead of, hey, you can buy this extra, just have it as like a big stretch goal. You know, like if we reach $28,000,
yeah,
we're just putting it in. Everybody gets it, but you got to have like a big stretch goal. So then all the people that are buying one book are going to be like, yo, we all want that, right? I'm going to buy another book. And then bloop, 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 bloop.
I'll try that. I'll try that. It didn't work on my Cthulhu, and I think people were like, "That's gross."
The thing with tentacles they thought was gross. Like I thought that would be the easy hentai.
Yeah, that
crossover.
tracks actually. I
I
feel like it'd
know.
be fine.
You think that, but apparently they'd rather see the two sisters.
Also, not surprised. You know, I don't know what we're talking about.
I mean, to be fair, plumbing is erotic just on its own.
Yeah,
I know. Someone was like, Tyler, like it's NSFW, right? I'm like, no. They go, then how come the first arc is called Get Piped Down? And I'm like, because they're going down the pipes, and they're like, yeah,
completely innocent. I don't know what you guys are reading into here.
Oh my god!
I don't know, Tyler. I think you missed a huge opportunity today.
Yeah,
I might have. I think, yeah, I could have done a
Will your
DLC
Gator
and done
wrestlers
30K.
will they be banned?
Are there
What,
girl
wait,
gators?
what?
Are there girl gators? This is what we need to know.
Yeah, will your
Unfortunately,
gators be
not.
open?
You know, they're going to be cucked blocked by how the TMNT turtles are.
Oh, are they brothers?
There's no love interest. Yeah.
No, dude, you need. I'm going to tell you right now how you do it. How you fix the problem. You got to have girl gators
right,
that are
tell
like
me.
the managers, the valets. You know, the Miss Elizabeth Gator, dude. That will be your most popular character. I guarantee.
Or
Lita
all the
style.
females
You
are
should actually
crocodile,
do
all the
stuff.
males are gators.
Yeah, dude. We're unlocking this concept for you here live on the air.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you?
Then you can do sexy gator covers, and you're gonna get a whole new audience.
The furry community?
I'm telling
think
you, you're
I'm
already
ready
in
for
the
that.
furry community, my friend. You're already
Come
there.
on,
with
man.
gators,
You're
yeah.
doing anamorphic animals, like
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
already in it, so you might as well
That's-
just play it all.
that's what Rule 34 is for. So you just
That's
just
right.
do it for them.
Do you want to know something? I've never told anybody this before about that Rule
All right.
34.
I don't know if I want to know. Feel free to
I
continue.
found something for my stuff. Rule 34 out in the world.
Is that sounds like confusing and then very flattering.
I was wildly confused because not only was it a Big Dog Inc. character, there are obvious Big Dog Inc. characters that you could use for this stuff. I mean, Penny for Your Soul is littered with angels and demons and all kinds of just crazy crap going on in Las Vegas. But this particular bondage style comic book thing that was out in the world it was like Wonder Woman and Supergirl, somebody else. And in the background, God damn it, if it wasn't Critter. And I mean, not some tangential Critter. I'm talking about they did the costume to the T.
Huh.
And I was like, what in the fuck is this?
You got a fan. You got
I
a
mean,
big fan.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah. Huh. I really hope
Now,
I
you-
don't see
you-
that in mine.
Because you do the sexy books, do you have fans that make you uncomfortable? Like, because I've been next to table of people who do sexy books, and I'm like, oh man, I would not want to talk to that guy forever.
Yeah, I mean, my stuff. I don't think my stuff is even really sexy. In fact, what's funny is we've never had,
You're so
and this
sexy.
only one time.
I've spanked it to Critter in
Oh well, then
2000,
that's a you
2010.
thing. It's a you thing. That's a you problem. Because we have none of our books have nudity in them.
Sure.
Ever. There's like sort of covered up stuff and you know, insinuation and so on. But until this new book that I'm doing called Sand and Scales, which is a gladiator book, which we did a big crowd scene of these people in this Roman stadium. And Carlos had this girl with her tits out. I was like, I think that's the first time we've had tits in a book, like ever in our history. So that was kind of funny and interesting when I saw that. So, you know, we have sexy girls, but it's not really a sexy book.
Sure.
It's not really, I mean, we have nude angel covers, but the book itself is not really NSFW. Anything that we do is not really NSFW outside of some covers. So I've had some people, I do have definitely people that have asked, like, how far does it go? Like, is this that? And I'm like, no, if you want that, you got to go that way and talk to, Tyler. He does all that stuff.
For $8 extra, though. Be ready for that.
So we have had some people ask, but it's no big deal. And then we have had some people get like a little more specific. Like I had one guy at New York Comic Con. He was very into Penny for Your Soul, and he was like, "Wow, this looks really great." And I'm like, "Take it home. It's like $5, And he's like, "Well, does this demon turn into a giant?" And I was like, No giants in this book. And he was like, "Oh." And he put it back down. He's like, "If you ever do a giant, tell me, because then I'd come and buy it in an instant." So we get a lot
comic
of that
fans are so freaking weird.
Yeah, I've had a lot of random stuff like that where they're like, "Oh, you almost had me, but you didn't have a
It's always something like tiny. It's always something like tiny. You're just like, "What? I'm sorry, I didn't think of this one factor that was gonna."
Yeah. And then one of the craziest ones was I had a couple come up and they were buying Penny for Your Soul. And so when we do our covers, we have A and B cover. You can choose whichever one you want. And so I was like, "Well, you're getting this, pick your cover, whatever." And they're like, "Okay, we have this one, this one, this one." And then they both stopped at this particular issue and they looked at each other. And I was like, "What is going on?" And they were like, the one on the right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I'm like, "What's happening right now?" And so they took the one on the right. The one on the right had a picture of a girl basically getting like slammed down on a craps table, right? And like a demon was like had her neck like this and like squashing her on the craps table. And so they took that one, and I was like, "Why'd you guys take that one?" She goes, "I like being choked." So I was like, "Oh, all right." So yeah, you never know what is going to grab somebody, at a random time
or choke them.
I tabled with Rob Anderson. If you don't know who Rob Anderson, that's fine. But if you do know, you understand that I've been through all of this.
That's funny. That's some lore right there.
Did you know he turned his comics Twitter, comics TikTok into a fetish TikTok? Like it's the same handle. Like I think you should create a new handle for that. Like just move it over.
Because all your original followers are like whoa, like all right, Rob.
Do you?
That's funny.
I think I've told you this before though, Tom, but I bought a lot of your stuff back in the day when I was into Fathom and all that stuff. I would buy all the pen, and I bought all that stuff. I don't know why, because it was never even my thing. Like I just was like,
because it looks awesome.
Well, and I think it was that. I think it was like lots of people are buying this.
Yeah,
it's not my thing, but I'm a comic collector. So if other people are buying it, I need to have it in my collection too. I don't know why, but they need to have it because I've never.
This Tom guy, like I think in a couple of years I'm going to be on Facebook Live with this Tom guy, and
I need to be prepared.
There's something about him. There's something about him.
I have so many Fathoms that I haven't read. Just saying.
Do you think there's been a lot of talk about like the floppy? Do you think more creators are gonna try to this is kind of a two-part question. Do you think creators on Kickstarter are gonna try to, if they're gonna keep doing floppies, try to up the page count? So they can give.
I've seen people like Larry and like Max that are just like, well, this one's 20 and this one's 36 and this one. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, guys, like that's fine, but make it easy on yourself. People expect a 20-page book. If you give them 24, they're probably going to be happy. If you give them 40, they might be ecstatic. But in my experience, I've done 20-page books, 24-page, 36, 40, and 8-page books. And at no point at any of those different moments in time when they got the book has anyone either be super excited about a lot of content or super disappointed because there's only 8 pages. No one. They're just like, yo, this is cool, man. So my advice within that question would be make it easy on yourself. Do a 20-page book. If you need a couple more pages, that's fine. But, think about budget. If you're doing a 28-page book, that's 8 pages you don't have to produce from a budget standpoint. So do a nice 20-page book that everyone expects. And, keep going. Take that 8 pages, put it in the next book. You only need 12 more pages now to finish that issue. And then you move on and on. That would be my advice. I think there are people that are trying to to put more content in, which I think is good. Even Bri Polito now is doing sort of 64-page books as a regular. You know, he
I
started
think they're
as
72 now. I think they're
are they?
72
So
now.
I know he
Yeah.
started at 40 and he slowly grew them. So now you're getting a big freaking giant book. But then he also takes that book. So he'll do like the 72 issues or whatever it is, or 72 pages. And then he'll break that into 3 issues for retail. That's his new methodology as well. So he funds this big thing and then sells it again 3 times.
I've been with my floppies. They're 40 pages, but I write them so each one's basically issues 1 and 2 in there, so that if I ever do want to go direct, to just go, hey, there's the cut every 20 pages. What about digitals? Like I've heard talk of like people raising their prices on their digital, so it's like if their floppy was $10 and their digital is 10.
People are buying it. You have to kind of go until you find the point where they don't buy it anymore, and then you come back down. But like we used to do them at $5 for a digital book, right? And we didn't have the same. We're still not seeing the same digital sales that a lot of people are, like this crazy percentage of digital sales. It's just not happening for us, but it is enough that we have to take notice. And so now our basic book is now $7 a book, and we still have not seen any sort of change in that. Now we don't make anything exponentially greater than that, but it is a couple of dollars extra a book. And if we end up selling 100 copies of digital, it's an extra couple $100. So I think a lot of people are bumping their digitals up little by little, just to see where the cutoff is going to be. Because, you know, with digital in the real world, if you want that Batman book that's $4.99 in the store, it is $4.99 on digital. Yeah, and people are buying it theoretically.
You raising your prices, Travis?
I have been slowly. Tom like basically just called me out. Like I was at 3, just up to 4. 5, like because everybody else is getting away with it. Like, well, why am I being cheap? Where it talks to double issues or stuff like that, I'm still going to stick to the 2024, but that's only because of production. I want to get it out faster to get the next Kickstarter up. Not that I don't think that's a better plan. I mean, White Ash does it too. Like Charlie does it. He does basically 2 issues worth of content and splits it into 2 when he does direct market. Right. I think it's the better way to do it. But if I have so many series at this time, unless I can get those series cut down, I just can't do that. I have to do it at 20 hours. And I write for comics, so I write 20 to 24 pages. Like that's what I write for. That's what I'm used to writing.
That's what I do. Yeah.
In fact, I'm trying to be more consistent on 20-ish pages because I'm trying to get down to the Marvel 20 pages, because a lot of my stuff earlier was 30 pages and I've cut it down, trying to cut it closer to 20 because I want to work there. Like I need to learn how to do that. Like, so try it on myself, make the best 20-page comic I can. Yeah. But again, one of the cool things about being indie is we make those rules. You know, Granite State Punk, 28-page book because I wanted it to be 28 pages. I can make that call, which is really cool.
What's your name, Ben Fox Comics? So I can call you.
Yeah, no, Chris.
You look like a Chris. I can smell it in the air.
Chris. Thank you. Yeah, and then to all that, I mean, I wasn't super familiar with like you said, rules that we kind of create on our own for the most part, at least in the indie sphere. So like Artificial One was 36 pages, but I was very content with the 36 pages. Like it felt purposeful, you know, no fat, anything like that.
Yeah.
Issue 2, we're working on issue 2 right now. I ended up finding that again at 36 pages. But as we've kind of gone through, we're like, do we need to chuck this? And we go through with my artist, and we're just very happy with 36 pages. Like it feels like it fleshes out that portion of the story, that if you want to call it a chapter or whatever you would call it, very well. And so I think moving forward, it'll probably be 36 pages, or at least that'll be the area. But trust me, hearing the amount of people talk about doing 20 to 24 pages, and then just because I want to know, doing all the research on how much that would cost, print, everything, I was like, that's a lot cheaper, like significantly cheaper. So I'm currently writing something that I'm planning on doing 20 to 24 pages just to see what that series would be like. But
I think the key is consistency, right?
Yeah.
So if you do a 20-page book, just make them all 20
That's
pages. If
the
the first
rule, yeah.
36, make them all 36.
Yeah.
You know,
or in that range, that's my goal.
Or in your range, yeah. As long as you're
Yeah.
kind of in that zone, because I think that's where you run into problems. If you have like a 36 and then all the rest are like 20 and,
20,
and
yeah.
lower, people are like, oh, wait a minute, I thought we'd get that. But if you
Yeah.
go the other way and you're like, hey, this one's 20 and now this one's like more, then people will notice. They'll be like, oh, well, that's cool. I got
Yeah.
like twice the book here for that in that case. But if you go the
Mhm.
other way, I think that's where you fall off. But
Yeah.
if you can find a nice consistency where everybody just expects it's probably going to be 20, 24 pages, then
Yeah.
they just understand that that's what it is.
Yeah.
If you do less than 20, I will call you out on the internet. So
Okay.
just so
I
you
do
know.
eight
Travis-
pages,
Travis
Travis.
will.
I do 8-page books, Travis.
Well, yeah, but you call them ash cans or specials or like
I call them 8-page books. Yeah.
You're okay.
They
So-
know it's
If
an
you call
8-page
them
book. Yeah.
If you
There's
call
no
it a full
surprise.
issue, Travis will be like,
Oh, I
"Okay,
have.
buddy."
When you mentioned Larry talks about that, that's because when he did a 16-page book, I did not let him live it down. We're still feuding at that. That's the core of the thing. Because when I got a 16-page book, black and white, I hung out on it.
Yeah.
I raised my digital prices from like I'm in a $6 or $7 range. It's only an island you look at
From the water.
from the water.
8-page book. 8-page book. It's my shark book. 8-page book.
It's disgusting.
But that's just a preview. Also, we sell it as a preview copy.
Well, there you go.
It's not
But like,
not the final.
I sell my floppies at 10, and I was like, how much profit do I make after shipping and all this stuff? And I was like, okay, I make $9 profit. What if I sold a digital at? What if I was able to do a digital deluxe, and sell it at $9?
Secret.
And then, so anytime someone bought either cover A at $10 or my digital $9, the same thing. It's just the same thing. In fact, I had more people, and then it was crazy because I still have the digital 7, and I had like less people buy the 7 because they were like, "Yeah, I'll spend an extra $2 to get the deluxe stuff."
Well, that's like what Travis said with your bonus scene. They want it all.
Yeah, they want it all, and I'm like, guys, I'm just throwing it. I literally just a cover gallery, so I'm just like, here's the cover gallery, and they're like, oh, well, I want the cover gallery for extra $2, and I'm like, great. Every time I sell a digital deluxe, it's the same as me selling a cover A, except I have to do less work.
Mm-hmm. And people love more. They put value on things that you put value on. So you say it's $10, they go, okay,
that's right,
$10. That's worth it. And it's like, but okay.
The only thing I'm struggling with though right now is like when I do the issue 2, does that mean that like let's say my digital is 6? Does that mean for my issue 2 I have to do like a $6 issue 1 and a $12 issue 1 and 2 bundle? Because that's when I'm like, oh, that's an expense.
I mean, a lot of people in that
digital.
issue they'll do free issue 1, but then once you get into issue 3 and 4, then you'll start adding them up. But I don't know.
I actually think your free issue 1 is a bad call. I think you're leaving money on the table. You need to make as much money as you can.
Yeah, no, I agree, but there's an aspect to it to where I've seen people who are much lower on the creator like spectrum of having like an audience. They don't really have that much of that backing, and I've seen people who do it just to try and bring in a little bit more foot traffic to those earlier campaigns where like the last campaign had 20 backers. It succeeded, it funded, but it only had 20. So now they're trying to get, hey, let's get 30 for the next one.
But you don't have to give the whole thing away. You could just do like 10 pages for free.
Yeah.
Here's 10 pages for free. And then they'll be like, oh, yo, this is cool. I'll buy the digital for $8 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or they buy the book. Hopefully they buy the book. We all want them to buy the book, but
that'd be preferable.
Yeah, for sure. So just little things like that is you almost never want to give something completely away for free.
Yeah.
Unless you really believe it's going to lead to something. But
what you do is if you do any of that, what Tom said, or you give the full thing, if it's going to be for free, their payment needs to be their email, their contact.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that we've been discussing is that the main thing is as long as we're getting information, it's the stupid idea nowadays that the biggest thing that's important right now is data. So
I literally just paid an artist today for a comic that I'm going to be giving away for free all year.
Yeah,
I'd
rather have that just to have data.
Yeah, just so I can
what
find
it
people's
is.
email addresses.
Technically, my day job is big data and marketing, so like I get it. And
Oh, dude, me too. Look at us.
it's fun, isn't it?
Oh,
it's a
you
joy.
Do you know about
I'm
the
not
funnel?
a big fan.
Chris, do you know about the funnel?
Yeah, you know about the funnel.
I don't know about the funnel. Please teach me about the
Oh
funnel.
my god.
Well,
I love talking about the funnel with.
I'm also in marketing as well, so I like to point out other sales funnels that Tyler doesn't want to talk about.
Yeah. Well, my
Because he likes his
part.
one.
My part
but
is
your funnels are boring. Your funnels are boring, and they're way more technical. And
so I would like his more then, because my side of it, I do the data analytics of the marketing firm. So I'm in the like.
That's the thing. Here's the thing. Let's talk about that one. But my funnel is color coded, and it's very easy for all these creators.
No, I like that too.
I mean, yours does have ICP, so I mean,
give me just a ton of funnels.
Is important.
I do. I swear, every time that I say ICP, every time Travis comments below it, like Insane Clown Posse, there's a part of me that just wants to break my phone, especially when I'm trying to like give good information, because then it just totally derails. Everything. Well, I've got to bounce. My kid's crying, but this was
it's 1:30. We should. It's almost 1:30. We should wrap it up. At least my time. I don't know.
Same. Chris, Travis, love you guys.
Yeah, man.
But thank you. Back our books. You guys have all the links. Holiday Spirits is live. Do all the things. You guys know what to do. Thanks for hanging out. I look forward to 2024. We're gonna do a lot of cool stuff. I will get you that date for the direct market thing. I think that'll be cool because you do your previews every month from here on out, right? Basically for the year.
It'll be bi-monthly right now. So I'm not sure when the next.
So are you in previews now or no?
I'm in previews. Oh no, a new one just came out, so I'm not in this new one. I was in the last one, so I'll be in the one that comes out at the end of January.
Well, I think it should come out anyways, because people can, they can still pre-order it, as long as they have some backstock.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and they can still order the number one because they'll be able to do whatever they call it, final order cutoff, or let their store know that they want it.
Yeah. You're not in this one at all. In fact, it's a lot of furries this month.
Critter's going to be bi-monthly, and then AP has talked about doing another BDI book, so we might get it so it sets up to go alternate, right in, Critter one and then the other one and then so on. So that might be happening like later in the year.
Yeah, good.
Cool. Travis, you're in Florida, huh?
I am, yes.
Okay, cool. So am I. So we'll probably run into each other at some point. We're gonna be at like 6 cons this year, as many as we can.
Are you going to Mega?
We are not going to Mega because we just barely missed out on the sign up for it. I went to do it and they said it was full.
You should still network. That's a big one to network. At least come up for a day.
Yeah, we're gonna be at Infinity Con, Fort Lauderdale, just this Sunday. We're gonna go to a bunch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I go to a lot of them. If they pay for me to be there, I will be there.
Yeah. There you go.
Nice.
All right. Well, I'm going to play the outro. Good night.
Good night.
Right.